Orders required. See site for details.
It's spring. Now is the best time to shop at Lenaha for all things garden or landscape. Our garden center is filled with the largest selection of homegrown plants, flowers, trees, and more. The area's best mulch and soil available for delivery and pickup. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. Lenaha Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
It's time to wake up your taste buds. Introducing my new Fiesta Line Chicken Pizza. Spicy taco sauce, generous amounts of chicken, green peppers, onions, jalapenos, mounds of cheddar and mozzarella cheese, and finished with a tangy lime sprinkle. Add your favorite one-topping pizza and my sweet cinnamon monkey bread. Fiesta Feast. Now that's a fiesta for your mouth. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
Join the Storm Chasers this week at Warner Park. Enjoy food, drink, and ticket specials all week long with fun for fans of all ages. See what's in store and buy your tickets at omahastormchasers.com.
Everyone get on your feet, stir up the storm with family.
Businesses of Omaha, settling for a website that looks like it's stuck in the early 2000s? Then it's time to level up with JM Online. Our local team builds custom websites that solve unique business needs. We're not your typical web design company. We're your partners in online success. Ready to take your website to the next level? Go to jmonline.com and request an initial call.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers, and that radon levels in our region are some of the highest in the country? Do you know your radon level? Protect your family by contacting the experts at Radon Defense Midwest. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer to 1620 The Zone listeners. Get 50% off a professional radon test. radonradio.com. What's your level?
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
Babbel's interactive lessons are created by real language teachers and voiced by real native speakers using a modern conversation-based method. So in no time, you can start speaking confidently about real-life topics in another language.
Nosotras vamos a México en 2 días y ahora hablamos español.
Gracias, Babbel.
Sí, muchas gracias.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at babbel.com. Just go to babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Rooferees. 1620 The Zone.
This is a special group. You know, that this group has been able to overcome a lot of different things, handle a lot of adversity, setbacks, things that have not gone the way we wanted it to go. And instead of having that collapse our spirit, it allowed us to develop some fortitude and grit collectively and give us something to rally around, which was each other.
I mean, I think we are not the favorites. I think in the finals, there is no favorites. This is going to be the hardest game of our life, and we know that, and we are prepared for that. We are preparing and prepare for that. So I think there is no favorites, and definitely I think we are not favorites in this series.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O, this is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to June. Now, I got to make sure that I'm doing this right because I'm sensing a theme. If I don't do this right, Nick or Jimmy, you guys correct me. But are we supposed to open the show this morning and say, because we haven't been on the air since 10 a.m. yesterday, are we supposed to say we back because that's the thing to do? Because I don't want to say, because this is a team show.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm back, but I guess we say we back.
Yeah.
And we like, wow, you guys are hip. You're right with Keisei Tominaga and Trey Alexander.
There should be a picture of all three of us looking out at the window at the beautiful NRG Media sign, just staring in awe
at those dark clouds out
It's
there.
a picture.
Ready to tackle a day.
It's like a nice photographic day. But good morning, everybody. We have reached the 1st of June. Now, normally,
it worked out.
Normally, when we get to the 1st of June, and especially the morning after, like kickoff times are put out.
Mm-hmm.
And we love college football, man. We eat college football up. We're going to be sickos on Labor Day weekend Sunday, where we're going to watch Rutgers and Northwestern at 11, and then turn around and watch Oregon State and San Jose State. That's what we do around here. We love our college football, and we eat it up. And if they say, hey, you got to pay $50 to stream Peacock, we say, where do I sign up?
Mm-hmm.
But usually on the day after that, we're having this long discussion, a huge breakdown. We're talking about, oh my gosh, Colorado, 10 a.m. local time. How am I going to be able to tailgate? How am I going to be able to get all my brisket tacos in? Which, by the way, is if you're going to an 11 a.m. kickoff and you're going to tailgate brisket tacos.
That sounds really good,
Is number
actually.
one.
Oh, yeah. Throw a little eggs in there if you want.
Little scrambled eggs, yeah.
Man, we talking basketball. We're talking basketball on the opening day of the NBA Finals, and pretty good day if you root for Red Nebraska or you root for Blue Nebraska, because Keisei Tominaga and Trey Alexander, who took it to the last minute, not to the deadline, but there was a lot of work going on yesterday to make sure that Trey Alexander stayed. But good day for basketball in this state yesterday with two announcements that I think people are pretty excited about.
I thought the fact that Trey even responded to a parody account regarding a NIL deal with Godfathers is the reason that he made his way
Did he
back.
say do it?
No. Just said, boy, it sounded like the Godfathers NIL is what really pushed it over the finish line there. But I was thinking about this last night after it was confirmed with Trey Alexander, because the KSA news came in obviously a little bit earlier. So you kind of wait a little bit in the early evening hours about Trey Alexander when you were counting down the hours. And, even the Edie news, Shibwe, who you knew probably wasn't going to do that again, where he was going to remove his name from the draft. But it's kind of interesting now that we have the reigning player of the year 2 years in a row that is actually returning to school in an era of, either transferring or going into the league if you can. I don't remember the last few years where you had decisions at the deadline, and maybe it was just because it hasn't impacted both teams, Nebraska and Creighton, that I can't remember where there was sort of that excitement, as you said, kind of leading into the NBA Finals, other things going on, college football, ancillary things with scheduling, all kinds of other stuff to kind of distract you getting ready for college baseball, yet having names removed from the draft that were so significant for both teams' future. Maybe it was just because we haven't had that with Nebraska and Creighton, but yesterday just sort of had a little bit more of that top of mind, keeping an eye on what's going on with who is going to actually remove their names by the deadline.
Hey, what did we do? By the way, yesterday, we'll get into this. Yesterday was a really good day for college basketball. NIL college basketball greater than NIL college football. But there's also a little difference in how large the draft is for the NFL compared to the NBA. But what did we do before Twitter? Like, for example, yesterday was one of those days. Like, I never doubted that Tominaga was coming back. Tominaga trusts Fred Hoiberg. That's one of the biggest takeaways is Tominaga trusts Fred Hoiberg with his career and his decision making. And Fred has essentially intimated, hey, go through the process. Pacers are going to take care of you. All right, they're going to do me a solid. They're going to do you a solid. Go through the process, and then let's get back to work. So he trusts Hoiberg. So he kind of knew that Tominaga was going to come back, but he had to make the graphic and, takes the day out.
Yeah.
But everybody with Trey Alexander was up in the air because it was 50-50. And, there was part of me yesterday as the day went on, I thought, okay, I know I'm going against conventional wisdom that the longer it takes, he's going in. But I thought, you know what? I think he's going to come back to Creighton. But, it was a crapshoot. But everybody's refreshing Twitter. I'm wondering, what did we do before Twitter? I mean, we had Jordan and the facts. But if we didn't have Twitter, yesterday would have been a really, really rough day to cover college basketball with all these pretty important decisions of guys that are staying or going.
You've been listening to sports radio.
You're texting.
You would have bought a newspaper today.
You would have bought a newspaper. If you have maybe someone close to the program, you're texting maybe every. I mean, you're refreshed that way. It's probably going to annoy the crap out of that person, but you're just saying, any news, any update. What about now? How about now? Okay, I'm going to text you in an hour from now, and then before texting, I mean, my God, the hell are we doing then? So. Yeah, and I actually found myself in that.
You call those lines you used to get scores.
Well,
back in the day.
I was like, I had things to do in the yard, and so, I'm not constantly getting any type of push notifications or anything. So anytime I'd start, because I bag my grass because I dog tracks that stuff in. Every time I'd have to put a new bag on the lawnmower, I was looking at my phone, like, anything? No, okay, nothing. Because I did get the Kaluma. It was weird. The push notification that I have set up for ESPN, the Kaluma news came up right away on my ESPN app.
Oh, by the way, he's coming back to college.
He's going to college, yeah.
It's not to Creighton, but maybe
Kentucky.
Maybe he'll play at Creighton when Alabama plays here.
Could be that as well. But I never, the Trey Alexander, and maybe it'll come like at 7 a.m. Never got anything from the Trey Alexander one. So I kept thinking, okay, this is going and going. And then, gosh, what was it about? 7:30 or 8 o'clock is when you finally started getting the news coming through. So, yeah, I was doing what I think a lot of Creighton fans, a lot of people in the media, unless you had someone that you really trusted and they knew, I was doing the same thing. I'm just kind of like, okay, anything? Hashtag Jays. Looking at anything from Trey's side of it. Looking at anything from Joel. What's going on? I don't know what we did. We had to wait.
We did faxes.
So we did.
Oh, but good news for both programs yesterday. Let's start with Nebraska, because Tominaga coming back, and he can't be a flash in the pan. He can't be second half Tominaga, and that was it. And he leaves it in the end of the 22-23 season. And he's got to get better. And his role will be a little bit different because that roster is a little bit different. And now he'll have a target on his back. Everybody knows who he is.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get into what he's got to do. But here's the most important thing. Like for Nebraska athletics and Nebraska basketball, well, they went 500 last year. I think that they will be preseason 9 or 10, which is an improvement. Baby steps around here. But from the standpoint of the optics and all of the gut punches you've taken, the most recognizable and most popular male athlete on that campus in Lincoln said he's coming back to school. I don't think there's any debate that Tominaga is the most popular male athlete that is at the University of Nebraska right now.
Can't argue.
Definitely the most recognizable because of his stature.
Yep.
And he's Japanese, so he has a distinct look to him, but he's a little fella. He's always got a smile on his face, but he is the most popular male athlete on that campus, and he comes back and he is going to get rewarded. I mean, people that were already in love with him, that were purchasing the 30 jerseys and were doing everything possible to support Keisei Tominaga are going to be in even more. So from the optics, that's great for that athletic department. Set aside the basketball program because you got a guy of his stature that is coming back. Because, I mean, the most recognizable athletes on that campus usually are football players.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can anybody recognize Jeff Sims?
And that's the thing. Think about the quarterback immediately. Yeah.
Your most recognizable athletes in Lincoln right now either play volleyball or they're Keisei Tominaga.
How about that? Yeah. I mean, I can't argue that. And I love how you're looking at it for the marketing review first and foremost, because it is huge for them.
It's huge for going into the offseason for Nebraska basketball because you weren't you haven't really been thrown a curveball.
Right.
You know,
and there usually is one.
You feel good about the guys you've added. You know, is anybody going to replace the intangibles of what Sam and Derek brought to you? But you haven't been thrown a curveball, and you could probably say for the first time in a while, you could maybe even say this last year, is you've won an offseason. We've had a successful offseason for Nebraska basketball.
Yeah, 100%.
Because look at the other side of this, Nick and Jimmy. He doesn't say yes yesterday. He says, I'm staying in the NBA draft. And we all go, what are you doing? What's going on in Lincoln? And we didn't. He said,
there's not much in
what's
between.
What's going on in Lincoln is I trust my head coach that he's going to do right by me, and he's going to help me get to where I want to go.
But you said the most important thing yesterday, too. If that happened, it'd be the most Nebraska basketball thing to happen. So I think
So you're nervous until you see the.
Absolutely.
We'd be bumping all these guests. It'd be 4 hours of, oh my gosh, does Fred make it to June 2nd?
As much as it made sense that we would get the news that we inevitably got, there was, I'm sure, a lot of people that in the back of their mind, like, yeah, I won't believe it until I see it. Just like how we feel about any contest as far as going into any football game, any basketball game. Heard that one before. But yeah, I mean, look at the offseason, because it wasn't like Sam Greasel and Derek Walker could come back. Okay, so you already knew what their fate was. So what could you do to sort of fill those voids? I think between Bryce Williams and look, Nebraska, yeah, there were a couple of guys that they wanted ahead of some others that they didn't get. Again, you got to understand where you are in the pecking order too. NIL, be damned. There are just other options for some other guys that you are looking into, but you continue to pursue some needs. And then you look at, getting a rink mast. There's you get an Alec. So there are different pieces that you brought to the table, but a lot of that was also sort of hinging on what is the decision that Keisei Tominaga is going to make. We all probably knew that it made more sense for him to come back, but were we convinced that he'd even come? Exactly. Or would he even come back? Would he, do something that like Arthur Kaluma did, decide to go in the transfer portal, that if he did come back, he'd go elsewhere. And a lot of it made sense that if he was playing college basketball, you kind of realize if he's going to play college basketball, it's going to be here in Nebraska, but is he going to play college basketball? And as you continue to kind of go down that path, you realized it probably makes sense, but it makes sense to us. Sometimes it doesn't always make sense to the individual, and it's the individual who's making that decision. So now you start to kind of piece together what this roster could look like. And for everything that, and I go back to the Tim Miles saga where you had so many guys just kind of up and leaving during that stretch. You didn't really get that one of like, wow, didn't see that one. I mean, Hal Wiltshire's still on the squad, for God's sakes. I'm not saying he's going to be a major contributor, but I mean, that was a guy that you kind of expected that he's probably going to leave. So you just never really got that, ooh, I didn't see that one. That one stings, or that one was not expected. That didn't happen. So not only that, but you retain a very important part of your offense. Yeah, it's a win. I think it's definitely a win for the offseason for Nebraska, which I haven't been able to really say that a whole heck of a lot.
You could maybe make a case that you've got a little bit of momentum going into the upcoming season. That's another part you've never really been able to say.
Excitement?
You've kind of had to flip your roster, and you had to define new roles. And so maybe this is a decision that adds to a nice little stretch for Hoiberg. Not great by any means. I mean, I don't know why people won't embrace, why can't you be competing for the NCAA tournament? That's on you, not on me. But they have something at least now to go in the offseason because they have a piece in Tominaga. But it can't be just second half Tominaga. He's got to be all year Tominaga for his benefit, but also for Nebraska. Yeah. Now, on the other side of things with Trey Alexander returning, and this on a whole different level, because all of a sudden Creighton will find themselves in the preseason firmly inside of the top 10 in a conference that, man, there are very few off nights in the upcoming year in the Big East. Very, very few. Your best team isn't the defending national champion. They might be your third best team behind Creighton and Marquette. But the Trey Alexander situation is very interesting because he did it the right way. He did the whole process. He weighed a lot of different things. He knew that he wants to play professional basketball. He is only 20 years old. But what it said to me yesterday is his strong commitment to making himself better as a basketball player, because his role will change slightly this year. I think you'll see him play a little bit more point guard with Nembhard not being here. His leadership probably will change a little bit. His off-the-ball stuff will change a little bit. So he's making a commitment to Creighton that he's not only coming back to a really, really good team and a really, really good structure that can help him get to where he wants to go, but it also showed me you will never, ever, ever, ever doubt the commitment by the checkbooks to Creighton basketball.
Yeah, it's true.
The people that support Creighton basketball with their checkbook, they are never going to let this program slip. I don't care who the athletic director is. I don't care who the basketball coach is, even though the basketball coach has a great relationship with his checkbooks. I mean, a fantastic relationship. But the checkbooks are, we're not going to let this program slip. And if there's a guy that we want,
we got you.
We're going to make it. Now, I'm sure some went, a G League contract really is that much? A two-way deal gets you that much? but people stepped up, and the one thing that also helped out is they had communication from top to bottom. Everybody was on the same page. Hey, let's make this guy's decision difficult. Let's show him how much love is here. Just remind him. And it worked out. But the commitment to basketball at Creighton, never have to doubt that. We have that discussion about Nebraska basketball and the NIL. Well, what do they want to do? You'll never hear me mention that about Creighton basketball. And yesterday was another reiteration of they are committed to that program competing at the highest level. And, Trey, you hope at some point during the year he doesn't have those, wow, did I make the right decision?
Yeah.
Did I just come back for one particular thing, or did I come back for myself and my teammates? But it's a win. It's a win in basketball. And when does December 3rd get here when Creighton and Nebraska play?
Right. And the collective for Creighton probably does, well, not probably, it doesn't get as much attention as what it does in Nebraska, especially when we're talking about football. But I think when you sort of step back from the bigger picture and you look at it and you're like, okay, that makes sense that Creighton is not only well-positioned, but they have a lot of people that have a good means to support this program. Very proud of this program, very proud of athletics at Creighton. And I think there's a couple of things to take away from that. When you do have, because I would wonder maybe 5 years ago, if you have a similar situation like this with a Trey Alexander, who's kind of a fringe guy, but a guy that has had enough conversations where there have been the two-way contract conversation, there's the G League opportunity, somebody that maybe feels like he's played at least enough basketball to what he feels is enough to take that next step. If you don't have NIL, are we having a different conversation right now? And then you also think about, it's important to look at the basketball structure of this too, because this can't, I think, be all about NIL, because I don't think that does MAC or this program service or the guys that are coming back into the fold on this one, like Kalkbrenner, but also what they were able to do in the transfer portal with Ashworth and Trout. You've also been able to say, okay, well, we lost an Nemhard, but we gained an Ashworth. So we feel that we can still put ourselves in a position to be right back to where we were a year ago. Now, as I talked about yesterday, and we've talked about, after Creighton was ousted in the Elite Eight, nothing's ever guaranteed that you're going to be back in that game, no matter how good you are. Even if you have an improved roster, there's a lot of unpredictable things that take place, as we all know. It's why we love the tournament. But knowing that you are going to be considered one of the big dogs, not only in the Big East, but in college basketball too, that's enticing as well. And we talked about the trajectory of Trey Alexander. And one of those things, as you just pointed out too, of having a little bit more opportunity to handle the basketball this year. Again, showing more versatility in his game too, is only going to be a plus for Trey Alexander. So a lot of why he came back, I think all of those things matter. But I think the one thing that's probably not spoken of as much, just because we focus so much of it on football, is the NIL, where, as you pointed out, and I think you have to, if you didn't know by now, you know now that Creighton they're just fine. If it ever comes down to that, if it ever comes down to, hey, we're kind of in the same decision here of maybe going the other way, maybe going to the transfer portal or going pro or staying at Creighton, it's going to come down to where the NIL situation is. Creighton's going to be just fine there.
Basketball was good yesterday. Basketball will be good today. Game 1 of the NBA Finals tonight. We got a loaded lineup.
Season tickets should be good for both, too. I think yesterday helped. Slightly.
Nice if Nebraska played a better non-con home schedule. Yeah. Just asking as one of those people. Mm-hmm. Creighton has a good, when you get Iowa and Alabama. The Alabama game could be a matchup by the time, now I don't know, they haven't determined a date. But that could be potentially a top 10 game. I mean, college basketball had a good day yesterday. I mean, a really, really good day. Zach Edey comes back. Michigan State had a good day yesterday. Illinois had an exceptional day. But college basketball, for guys that were fringe and maybe second rounders, their better option was staying in school. And so the game benefits greatly.
Big Ten had a big day.
Again, the NBA only has 2 rounds. So that's a difference. I know that we, comparing college football, but the NFL is a 7-round draft.
Mm-hmm.
So that fringe guy that could be a 5th-round guy, he's like, I'll take it. Compared to that fringe late 2nd-round guy in the NBA, there's like, maybe my better option is I have the doors still open. I can go back to my school.
Yeah, people forget it. There used to be a bigger draft in the NBA.
But college basketball had a really, really good day yesterday. I mean, the sport is going to be loaded this year, and I hope that's a good sign moving forward.
Yeah.
That guys that are not automatic first round picks, they think about coming back to college because it makes our viewing pleasure is better and the game is better. Now it becomes more competitive because you look at the Big East. The Big East is going to be a beast. That's why you can't be Creighton and say, well, guys, let's run it back. Ryan and Art aren't here, but let's run it back. No, it's an entirely different season for Creighton. You have a lot of intriguing pieces, including 3 guys that could be all Big East. Not to honorable mention, but first team all Big East in Shireman, Kalkbrenner, and Alexander. But you can't just run it back because the Big East is going to be different. You never know what's going to happen during the course of a season. Do you lose a Kalkbrenner for 6 games again? All of those things. But the Big East is stacked. And the Big East had a good couple of days stretch here with guys pulling out of the draft. I mean, St. John's. Look at Villanova. Villanova's roster is pretty impressive. I mean, Villanova ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
We already mentioned Marquette, UConn, and Creighton are the top 3 teams in that league. I don't know how many off nights they're going to be in the Big East compared to last year when you were able to get your feet on the ground once you got everybody back and healthy and start to stack wins. I mean, it's going to be a nightly battle. There's probably only 1 or 2 teams in that league that you could say, whew, we're not on our A game. We have a chance. We're going to win this game no matter what.
Both conferences, even with the Big Ten, and you mentioned, Michigan State, but also, Shannon from Illinois, and Edey, player of the year and what he means to Purdue, the Big Ten. I mean, even
Hawkins, add Hawkins coming back. I mean, Illinois got their leading scorer.
Yeah.
Shannon was a 17-point game a guy last year, and they get Hawkins back as well. Huge day for Brad Underwood.
Mm-hmm. And then, even the back end of the depth of the Big Ten, too, if we're thinking, hey, if Nebraska's looking to try to, again, avoid that Wednesday, put themselves in the conversation, there's a back end of the Big Ten from a depth standpoint where you get a notable player that obviously not only took Nebraska fans by storm, but also was the talk of the Big Ten there towards the end, too, in Keisei Tominaga. So it's both conferences fared pretty well with Creighton and Nebraska, the Big East and the Big Ten.
Big Ten will have 2 teams in the top 5. Michigan State, it'll go KU, Duke, Michigan State will be the top 3, in my opinion, in the preseason. And then Purdue with Edey and the young guards that they had last year that are returning. They'll be 5, 6, maybe, in a lot of preseason polls.
Yeah.
But after that in the Big Ten, this is where I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. After that, the Big Ten is a little bit wide open. I mean, Michigan State and Purdue, Illinois, of course. But after that, there's not a lot of concrete, man, that's a really, really good basketball team in that league.
No, and you're right, but I'm even thinking about, too, if you look at Kansas, another team that all of a sudden was kind of like, are they going to be even in the top 10 preseason? And then what they did, but also what they retained with McCullers, also pulling his name out, too. So, I mean, the rich getting richer, and you just kind of look around, going back to your original point about college basketball and the product next year has a chance to look really good because of rosters kind of staying old, especially with some talented guys like that. I mean, and this is kind of the reverse argument of NIL of is it bad for college basketball, or, for college athletics when it comes to, losing guys or trying to, play the free agency market? Well, in this case, I think in a lot of different ways in just retention, NIL's played a part where you are going to maybe see a little bit more continuity with some rosters, which in college sports period, but in college basketball is a great thing.
We have lots to discuss on basketball. Parker Gabriel, our good friend, is going to join us at 8 from the Mile High City, where tonight is game 1 of the NBA Finals, Denver and Miami. Tip off 7:30. Denver is an 8.5-point favorite. Ooh, that is steep for game 1, where the Heat are just trying to get a split. Nuggets haven't played in a couple of months, and the Heat just played on Monday night.
They'll have that adrenaline, want to jump on them quickly.
But Jimmy, haven't you heard of the altitude?
There's altitude.
Altitude will get you.
There's humidity.
It's on the court
in Miami, though, too.
Miami only practices and plays their games 6 feet above sea level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now they got to go to 5,000?
280.
Mm-hmm.
They like to tell you. They like reminding you.
People talk about, I know Spo brought it up yesterday, but people talk about the humidity in Miami as much as they talk about the altitude, because the humidity is a real deal, too. Legs get heavy. Just saying.
I ran a half marathon in Denver once, and I got asked, did the altitude bother you? I said, no, the knees did.
They play inside.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, but
humidity's worse. It's like running in a wet blanket. But yes, they play in an air-conditioned building there.
I get that, but
very nice too.
I think of all the athletes at this level. They all kind of are able to adapt a little bit and overcome. I don't. Maybe I dismiss the altitude conversation more than what some people will make a big deal out of.
I'm more up on the humidity. We might have to get
the humidity.
Get Al Roker on the line.
Let's listen to old Jay Will talk about that. That's a big deal. I was like, okay, well, if you played in it,
Apparently
for
they play outside.
For a sport that's inside?
Yeah.
Have you been? I've been in that arena. It's like 72 degrees.
Oh, I'm sure it's fine inside.
Yeah.
Very nice. Good accommodations.
I don't know what they're doing outside of the game. I'm not sure. I don't trust him. But
Stop listening to him.
Okay, I'll just stop listening to Jay Will on that.
I mean, it can get pretty humid here in the Zot Studios, like Antarctica.
Consuming bad television. There's no way that he said that.
I swear to God, he said
the
that.
humidity in Miami is a factor.
I think Greenberg said that a couple weeks ago too, and I remember thinking, "What are you talking about?"
Bad television people. Stop giving them your time of the day.
I read about it.
What
I don't
the
watch
hell?
them.
No, get out of here. That can't even be true. The
I swear to you.
humidity affects teams that play in Miami in a sport that is played indoors, and also in a sport where you go from your hotel room, you walk outside, you get on the bus, air conditioned, you drive to the arena, you pull into the arena, you get out inside of an air conditioned arena, go in your locker room, walk out on the floor, and then when the game's over, you get back.
Yep.
Humidity affects you?
Apparently. Now, for the Dolphins game, sure, I get that.
Yeah, it's an outdoor sport.
Yeah, I get that. Marlins, I get that.
Basketball, Nick, is indoors.
I understand that. I'm listening for one player.
Maybe they were saying that hockey, because humidity does affect the ice this time of the year in places that get very, very warm.
No, Jay Will is not talking about the ice.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Parker Gabriel will join us. Steve Sipple stops by at 8:30.
Ask Sip about humidity.
I'll ask Sip about the exposure Nebraska's getting. Hey, Nebraska's getting some good exposure. Whatever they do with that, but
Price is Right lead in. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? A couple of 11 a.m. games, a couple of windows to themselves. So Sip will join us coming up at 8:30. Kendall Rogers from D1 Baseball stops by. They'll load a lineup today with the regionals starting tomorrow. CJ Moore, who covers college basketball for The Athletic, he will chime in on what is ahead for the game of college basketball. And he in particular covers KU a lot because he lives down in the area. KU #1.
That'll make him happy, though. He's not supposed to say that.
The Blue Bloods boys are back. KU, Duke, Michigan State.
Where everything should be right now.
And the only team that is having like a dumpster is Kentucky.
Yep.
Yeah, we were rattling off teams that had good days. Kentucky didn't have a very good day yesterday.
Not so much.
No.
That'll.
Also, speaking of Kentucky, not good. Have you seen some of the videos that are being posted from the teams that are showing up in Lexington to play baseball this weekend?
So the dorms aren't as nice?
No.
Oh.
They don't.
Yeah.
They look like the dorm that we all kind of went
when
we were in school, and you walk in and it's completely empty. There's no sheets on the bed or anything. Yeah.
And so remember yesterday I was saying, what can you really do? You get a week's notice. You've got all these other events that have been planned, a year in advance. So what can you really do? And then we got into the long conversation about college dorms. Now, at the very least, I would hold the NCAA to hold University of Kentucky accountable of like having some type of turn down service, some type of, hey, we're providing fresh linens. We're providing, things of just
Bed Bath & Beyond's having a closeout sale.
Nature there. This is where I'm starting to kind of change my outlook on what I was saying yesterday. Like, they'll be fine. It's okay. I just assumed that Kentucky would be like, oh no, we got you guys.
We painted a rosy picture of dorms.
We'll make sure that this is a good experience for you. Coach, you didn't tell us we needed to bring our own pillowcases or pillows.
Yeah, pillows.
Or pillows.
Seriously, that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
I bet someone forgot it. They're like, yeah, we have guests in the dorm room. And we didn't tell them to bring their own linens. Because like when you go to camp and you stay in a dorm, isn't that also you got to bring your own linens?
I think so.
Yeah. Usually. Well, and think about if you did have your maintenance come through and sort of do the final like touch up on each dorm, they probably have already done that. I'm assuming on most occasions they're not coming by weekly to, spruce up a room that's not been lived in. So they're probably like, no one told us. We weren't supposed to do anything. And you might be lucky to have maybe a half drink gallon of milk in one of the fridge, and that's about it. Like that is a problem.
This might look like the women's basketball being in the bubble in
Yes.
San Antonio.
Yeah. With the workout
when
facility?
The players were
Yeah.
taking videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. NCAA might have, and Kentucky might have to act pretty quickly.
Yep.
So CJ Moore coming up 9:20. Brian Edwards with his thoughts on the line tonight and some of the other prop bets for the NBA. Game 1 finals in Denver, Miami and Denver. He's at 9:45. The lineup brought to you by the Rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard. You want to react to Tominaga and Alexander saying, "We or I'm back in a basketball state, at least for a day."
Do you think they should have done like a dual announcement together just to promote the sport in the state? There's like a little side by side of "we back."
Get it sponsored.
I don't know what
maybe.
their relationship is, but that could have been kind of fun.
That's an interesting
could have been-
question
could have
because
been kind of fun.
What would a J-Sker do?
Yeah. Exactly.
Double celebrating.
That would be like a J-Skers, like, you know what, dream. Oh my God. Even they're embracing the J-Sker thing. Oh, with a dual announcement together.
Think about it. Everybody's happy in basketball. If you're a Skurhawk,
Mhm.
Tominaga's back. Football looks pretty promising. Your KU basketball's number 1. Everybody be happy on June 1.
Yeah, I knew quite a number of Skurhawks. So
The Skurhawks.
oh, they're a thing.
951-1620. You want to join the conversation at any point today? You can always email Nick or myself in the Equitable Bank inbox, where Doug and the fantastic crew, always with a smiling face in every, what would you call them, terminal? When you drive up, you do a little banking
Yeah, we
there.
got the
Some do aisles. They got a
Mhm.
smile in every aisle. Well, at Equitable Bank, they got a smile.
terminal station.
They got a smile in every drive-up lane. Equitable Bank, where they take banking personally. Gary at 1620thezone.com, Handley at 1620thezone.com, or on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed at Gary Sharp 1620, Nick at 1620 as well. Good lineup, lots to discuss, a lot of basketball. We will get to football because I'm going to be, I think, an old get off my lawn person. There's a game that's on.
Always get behind that.
Well, there's a game that's on streaming. I know it's the future. I think it's a bad future.
I already agree with you.
And it's a pretty good game, too. We'll do all that. We roll till 10 on a Thursday to kick off the month of June. 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
The Dell Technologies Summer Sale event starts now with limited quantity deals on select performance PCs with Windows 11 Pro. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Save on essential accessories, plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. Offered to business customers by WebBank, who determines qualifications for and terms of credit.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
I'm Omaha Athletic Director Adrian Dow, and I want to introduce you to 3 Omaha schools that are playing a vital role in keeping our community strong. We serve nearly 600 K through 8th grade students, most of whom come from disadvantaged neighborhoods. These students receive a values-based education with the family support they need. I'm a proud member of the CUES Fund Board, which supports the CUES school system. To learn more, go to CUES Schools, that's CUES schools.org.
Now back to Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, June 1. There's kind of some significance around June 1. We all like to play golf. Today is the day for the 2024 Masters, that the application to buy Masters tickets opens up. I've already filled it out. I am going to wait because, by the way, you have until June 20th. Then late July, I'm going to get that email and disappointment will reign once again.
One day. It's happened to my my brothers and father-in-law that they've got the honor of purchasing. But we're always given the reminder through our family on this day. I'm waiting for the text, in fact, to come through of like, don't forget. I don't know. I've never got pegged for jury duty either.
Oh, you shouldn't say that too loud. Someone's going to hear you.
Like, wait, what? Okay.
Handley, Omaha.
Let's put him in the mix.
It's in the mail.
How have you never gotten jury duty? And I've gotten like 3 times.
Oh, I know people who've got 3 or 4 or 5.
I even got picked to be a poll worker.
Yeah, none of that.
I'm like, I haven't lived here very long.
Yeah, none of that. Maybe it's when I was in the great county of Platte County for 6 years that maybe just completely it just baffled the system. All of a sudden, he's back in Douglas County. Wait, what the hell? So maybe I set the time back on myself. I don't know how any of that works, but yeah, I've never had to.
Maybe this is the year. I didn't put much thought into it because I used to like ask around and try and figure out algorithms if certain parts of the country were featured year by year. Now, Seamus McKnight has won it twice.
That's pretty impressive.
We talk about a lot of things. I don't bring that up because I don't want to hear that he has won it twice, like in the span of, I think, 3 or 4 years. So,
and I thought you couldn't get that.
Well,
I thought like if you got it once, you couldn't in like another 5 or 10 years.
That's what I thought. All I'm asking Augusta National is, you know what? I was at Hy-Vee the other day. I got out of my car and there was a penny right there, and I picked it up. I know it's COVID, so you're not supposed to pick up loose change.
Yeah, but good luck knows no disease.
I always pick up loose change.
Same.
Like a penny, a nickel, a quarter,
Really?
dollars.
What do you hope to do with that?
I just put it in the
Get good luck.
I put it in the jar in the cubby hole of my car.
Okay.
Don't you? I don't know. I
don't do that.
I don't mess with the luck god.
Oh, I do.
Like
that.
I've always heard that.
So if you see a heads up, you leave it?
I pick it up no matter what.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're all good luck.
You never know when you might need a penny. Probably never, but
yeah.
But I believe in that, and I got out, so I picked up a penny. So I'm hoping that maybe my luck will change. Now I get all excited for this, and let's be honest, if I got selected for a Monday practice round, because you can only get one day, I'd be like, okay. Can I pass until next year? So you have until
Give
June
a higher
20th.
priority order.
June 20th is when it closes, and then late July is when almost all of us get an email that we're like, hey, thank you. We appreciate your support of the Masters.
Is there a menu item that you would be interested in?
Oh, no. I'd eat them all.
I think I would too.
That's fair.
And you know what?
Get the full experience.
I'd probably still have like $10 and change.
Well, it's affordable. So yes,
very
I mean, you
affordable.
have to.
Because I haven't heard as much about the peach ice cream cookie as much as you hear of like the pimento cheese and the egg salad and some of the other menu items they have. That looked really good.
I'm there for the golf. They're either going to let me in as a patron, or I'm going to go get my game good enough that I'm going to qualify for the Masters. What would you rather have?
I'd rather follow you as the golfer. What would Augusta rather have, though? That's the question.
Hey, also June 1, for all of our baseball fans out there, and there are plenty of you, this is a special day. I always say wait until June 1. Like my theory is everybody wins 60, everybody loses 60. What do you do with the other 42? But there's a good bet that if you're in first place on June 1, you are going to win your division. So 58% of the leaders on June 1 in Major League Baseball in your division have gone on to win since they went to the 3 divisions in the AL and the NL.
What about third place teams that are in really bad divisions?
You scored 12 yesterday. You should be happy.
Yeah, they gave up 8.
You won a series against Baltimore.
Yeah. That actually what I mean, most years I'd be like, that's Baltimore. They're not bad.
Baltimore has lost back-to-back series.
And the A's also won a series against the Braves, so it almost got swept.
Well, the Cubs were looking good yesterday, and then they remembered that their bullpen was still their bullpen. But Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Texas. You got a big series with the Twins starting tonight.
Yep.
And then Atlanta, Milwaukee, Dodgers are all in first place in their division on June 1.
And that feels about right.
That kind of matches up with what we thought.
Yeah.
Except for Houston.
And Cleveland.
And Toronto. And St. Louis.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you had St. Louis. Ooh.
Yeah, I did.
Exactly.
Ooh. That might be the
Chad
worst
Cop
one.
says-
It may be that bad.
Chad the Cop says, can I caddy for you? I bring 100% humor and 0% expertise.
That's the kind of caddy I'd want.
Yeah, we're not going to take ourselves seriously.
No.
We're going to turn this into Tin Cup. Okay?
Right.
Not going to be Happy Gilmore. It's going to be a little balance of both.
Yeah.
This is why I'm a big Joel Damon fan. If anybody watched Full Swing. Like, I'm not saying his caddy is not knowledgeable. It sounds like they have a great relationship, but that's the type of relationship and banter I would want with my caddy, where they refer to me as a boner. Yeah. Those are the types of guys that I need in my corner. I don't want this just all business. Like, there are going to be times that I'm going to be beating myself up, so I need you to bring me back down to a happy place. Or just give me the caddy that just doesn't talk, like the Happy Gilmore's caddy.
Oh, see, you need
In slanting left. You're only saying that because you have one shoe.
You need Rome.
What did you say? My earbuds were cutting out there. You said you need a boner to make you happy?
That's what I heard.
No. Joel Damon's caddy calls him a boner.
Gotcha. I thought maybe you were like, okay. I was a big fan of Growing Pains.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah. Whatever happened to boner?
What's happening with you?
What?
Honey, you're boner. Oh, what do you want me to do? Cut it off?
They make That's a good one. Good old road trip. At the end of one of his really good rounds, Joel Damon's round at the U.S. Open last year, because he hits a shot and he goes, man, what a boner. His caddy says to Joel Damon. And then he said, I bet this is the first time that a caddy's ever called one of his players a boner. And I respected it. I thought, yeah, you're probably right.
For the record, Boner is dead.
Boner died?
Yeah, found him dead in Canada.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
A lot of late 80s stars. I mean, they all bit.
I don't know if he did anything further than Growing Pains, but that just, on June 1st, that just brings me down.
We do have breaking news coming into the 1620 The Zone studio. After the driest May on record in this fine city that we call home, it is raining.
Yeah.
50th and Capitol.
See that?
Either that or they're trying to clean the windows.
I see wet pavement.
I think it might be spitting a little bit.
Yeah.
How about that? You heard it here first.
Maybe this will keep my neighbor from behind my backyard to stop watering her lawn for 4 hours. I'm not kidding.
Oh, she still will.
Whoa.
Yeah. I had a conversation yesterday.
Do you have a Mrs. Wilson that you share a fence in the backyard with?
I thought we were on good terms. I had to have a conversation yesterday because we just put up a new fence last summer because a lot of water was ruining the posts, and we've already got some warped boards.
Ooh, now I think you have a case here.
Yeah, and so
you need Jackie Childs to represent you.
I do. It's deplorable. It's infallible. Yeah. So I went just to say, hey, could you keep an eye on that? I noticed it was going for almost 4 hours, and she said, well, I'm going to water my lawn and it's dry. I said, yeah, but 4 hours. She said, well, my lawn guy said it's better to water for a long time every other day than every day. I'm like, yeah, but for 4 hours. And she never even humor me and say, you know what? Yeah, I'll keep an eye on it. No, she goes, she gave me the look of, I don't know what you want me to do. She goes, rain would do the same thing. Yeah, but for 4 hours. Yeah. That wasn't pleasant.
I'm on Team Handley here on this one. If that's messing up your fence.
Yeah. Because she has a garden on the other side of the fence. We're not obligated to even put a fence up. Now we have a dog who we want to, but if that thing wore down again, like, well, why are you going to put one up? What are you going to do about your garden then?
Perhaps you could go poop on our front porch.
Whoa. Now, come on. Now,
I went from 0 to 60 pretty quick.
Yeah.
Speaking of that,
it's funny you say that, Jimmy.
I was just thinking about that the other day. We asked at the beginning of the show, with everybody trying to find out what Trey Alexander is going to do, is refreshing Twitter. I said, what do people do before Twitter? Like, Jordan went with the facts.
Mm-hmm.
Steve says, enjoy life.
Just enjoy life, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess I didn't fully embrace that yesterday. Maybe I should just let it be.
You'd be Mr. Optimistic guy. You know what? If Casey and Trey want to play pro ball, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
I'll still go to the games, and it'll still be basketball.
If
they want to come back, that's great as well, because I'll still go to the games.
I will wish them well.
But,
I will follow their careers.
But welcome to a basketball state for at least a day, with good news. For very rare that on the same day, Nebraska and Creighton men's basketball get good news.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's something happens and the other and two guys that are going to be impactful in the upcoming season. We'll talk more about both of their contributions, what has to happen. We've had a little adjustment. Kendall Rogers is going to join us tomorrow, so we can have more time with Kendall and the fine folks at D1 Baseball. There was also a little portaling activity with baseball around here that caught people off guard, but being Kevin Bacon from Animal House or bitter, I can't leave it alone, Aaron Rodgers, RELAX.
Oh, my God.
Remain calm.
What point of the season will Aaron Rodgers have to do that? The Jets get off to a 1-2 start.
I mean, he's Mr. Revisionist.
Mm-hmm.
Just move on. Move on. You're in a happy place. The Packers have moved on. They're ready. Everybody's just so bitter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thought he liked his new home.
Again, if he doesn't win the MVP a couple of years ago, he's probably already gone.
Yeah,
but he got some leverage once he won the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
I read that whole story in the Athletic.
Yeah,
just come on, people, come on. We gotta just move on.
Just love how he says. And he had a lot to say. I'm sure he did.
Just remind me, I could never date Aaron Rodgers. He's too high maintenance for me. I just couldn't.
No,
I'd have a hard time dating Aaron Rodgers.
It'd be a constant temperature check.
He likes caves. You like a nice hotel.
Every hour. Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? And then you come across being the psycho. I'm just saying. I have no experience with anything like that.
Yeah, that you seem to tap into something there.
People play mind games, Jimmy. People play mind games.
The cougar hunt yesterday.
I would get the Olivia treatment.
Yeah. You know what? There are a lot of things that I think Aaron Rodgers missed out on, but what was he doing there?
I'm with you.
And he's had a decent cast.
Decent rotation.
Danica Patrick is nothing to thumb your nose at, but Olivia Munn, come on. Boy, if she could talk.
She can.
If she would.
Oh.
About that.
Well,
I guess she kind of
I've seen the newsroom. She can talk.
I guess she kind of did.
Now he's got Brees Hall. Hour 2 next.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Backlund Plumbing Time-Saving Traffic Center. We're getting reports of a fuel spill accident near 42nd and Ames, so please be cautious if you're in that area. Along Highway 370, be prepared for a little bit of slowdown near Gold Coast Road. And on Center, be prepared for a significant delay from 192nd to 168th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
What does Saul's loan on? Almost everything, like jewelry, gold chains, bracelets, earrings, wedding rings, and high-end watches, guns, electronics, $10 to $50,000, super fast and easy with no credit check. Saul's loans on almost everything.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. Beautiful spring weather has arrived, which means summer is right around the corner. This is the perfect time for you to take advantage of the great deals that they have at Kugler Vision. Why do glasses and contact wearers from all over Nebraska travel to see the folks at Kugler Vision? Because they tackle tough vision problems. Schedule a consultation today 402-558-2211 or KuglerVision.com.
Hey, Jay, can you finish that induction range installation tomorrow?
Orders have really amped up at Nate's Electric.
We need to finish installing it first in Maine. Did we hear back from the grocery chain?
It's no shock he needs electricians, like yesterday.
Smart fridge. Everybody wants one of those these days.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Handley at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
I'm Omaha Athletic Director Adrian Dow, and I want to introduce you to 3 Omaha schools that are playing a vital role in keeping our community strong. We serve nearly 600 pre-K through 8th grade students, most of whom come from disadvantaged neighborhoods. These students receive a values-based education with the family support they need. I'm a proud member of the CUES Fund Board, which supports the CUES school system. To learn more, go to CUES Schools, that's CUES schools.org.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, 7:03 on the first day of June, this Thursday, short week. You'll get used to a short week. It is raining. It's a rarity. We need it. It's doing it. I don't know if it's all over Omaha, but right here at 50th and Capitol it is. So college baseball, Nebraska lost a infielder yesterday, only played 13 games. College baseball portal, exit meetings have already happened. So around the country, teams that are not of the 64 that are playing, you're going to have guys go into the portal. It was a little bit jarring yesterday until you realize what the plan is. To see Kendall Rogers tweet that Mike Bovee, 3-time All-Summit pick, going to be the highest drafted player ever in the history of Omaha baseball, had put his name into the portal.
Right.
He will, and I know it's for leverage, he'll never play another inning of college baseball.
Wouldn't think so, no.
He's going to be drafted in the first 50 to 55 players. Now, it's a wise business decision because you do have a little leverage, and it's not this is what it immediately looks like is, it's a knock on Omaha. No, it's a play for your future in a month. If the team that drafts you messes around with you, you have at least that option that you could go into the portal. I expect him fully to sign. He had an incredible career at Omaha. And when you see something like that, you're like, oh, man, I thought his experience here was pretty good. Don't overthink it. It was really, really good. When your head coach goes on social media and calls you the best and wishes you nothing but the best of luck, he knows what you're doing, and that's fine. So he's in the portal, but he'll be in the portal with name only. He'll be getting paid to play baseball here shortly, and he should. He not only is a plus person, he is a really, really good player that I can't wait to see with a wooden bat in his hand.
For a moment, though.
No,
do you think?
don't do
No.
You know what you got.
It's for a moment, though. Do you think
What's
there was
Will going to do?
No, there was a Nebraska fan that said, "Hey,
should we call him?
We need to jump in." No, and this is a new negotiating tactic that players now finally have, where you had the transfer portal that is so prevalent. You don't have that deterrent of having to sit out a year, so it's sort of hard to call that bluff. Sort of hard to say, yeah, you're not really going to transfer, sit out a year, and then go play. So this is something that, and I think back to a guy like Connor Gillespie when he was at Wichita State and he was picked in the supplemental round. And there was a little bit of, I don't know what the normal timeline is of getting everything finalized when it comes to your contract, but I know there was a little bit of dragging the feet there too, that if you had that option of saying, you know what, I intend to play college baseball. I'm already in the transfer portal and I've got this school is all after me. And you know what? There's probably going to be some coaches that are going to send out feelers. Like, you serious, Clark?
If there's a chance.
Yeah, we might leave a spot open if you're serious about this, because he is a unique talent. Regardless of where he comes from, what school he played for, he's one of the best in college baseball. So when you use common sense, yeah, he has no intention of playing college baseball. But now with the transfer portal and having that to use to make sure nobody is effing around when it comes to who's taking me and how we're going to get everything across the finish line, and I know exactly what the plan is, and that's signed, and we're good to go. This is just protecting your own ass, and that's a great thing. It's a good thing to do.
Protecting your own ass.
It's a good thing to do. And so I think that it was, I didn't know that was an option. But then when you step back from it, oh, wait, this makes sense. The way Gary explained it too. I would be surprised if you see more surefire, top 5 round guys do something similar just to cover themselves, just to make sure that I want you to know I have other options. And I would be all about it if you guys decide to take your time with this.
It will be interesting next month in the draft, the Major League Baseball draft, because Matthews, Anderson, and Bovee are all kind of in the same range when you see a lot of mock drafts or top 100 lists. Who will be the first off the board? I mean, they'll all have completely different skill sets, all infielders. But we have 3 guys, 2 of them being in-state products. They're going to be drafted. They'll definitely be gone by the 5th round.
Yeah,
maybe 3rd round guys. Well, it's a wise decision. I mean,
it's
good for him to protect anything that happens, and he's got good representation. I mean, that's a smart play. It's just when you see that, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, what about a Max Anderson or Bryce Matthews doing the same thing?
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if they do. I mean, really, and for players that look, and these guys know each other. You got Bovee and Max Anderson not only playing here locally in high school, one from Hastings, one from the Metro, but also playing in the Cape Cod League. So you communicate with each other. I wouldn't be shocked if they do something like that. And I think I've seen Max a little bit out in front in some of the mocks than Bryce or Mike Bovee. But I also think about, if we look at what all 3 of them do really well, and that is solid contact. They're good hitters. They've shown that, especially here this last year. Bovee has been showing it since he's been at Omaha. Max and Bryce had the good freshman year, then sort of took the dip in the sophomore year. But again, Max now having 2 years in the Cape Cod League has been exposed quite a bit, is seen quite a bit. But if you look at how all 3 of them approach the plate, you couldn't probably find 3 different approaches. Max is a little bit more of a front side guy who, he can go opposite field. He can go all fields. Bryce, I think, is a little bit more power, a little bit more sort of country strong. And then Bovee just has that if you were to do a Fred McGriff Tommy Mansky, this is how you swing a bat. You would want to emulate Mike Bovey's. It's a textbook swing, and it's a swing that I think also is going to do him a great service when he goes to the next level, too.
We'll get an update with Jimmy here in just a little bit. Yesterday, start times rolled out. Nebraska gets some nice exposure, especially the first 2 weeks. Now, Colorado is going to be exposed because, well, I mean,
I'm not disagreeing.
They're getting the return on investment.
Mm-hmm.
People want to go cover Dion. How do they cover Dion after the first month if Colorado's 1-4? That's for a different conversation. But Nebraska, I like this. I mean, I have now grown. I like the 11 a.m. kickoff. I don't tailgate as much as I used to. So I like getting up and going to the game, whether it be at home or on the road.
Fair.
It has nothing to do with an age. I like the 11 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And college football has shifted away from 2:30 or primetime games where that's the spot.
Yeah.
They are promoting the 11 a.m. game, and it's led by Fox. So Nebraska gets the 7 o'clock kickoff in Minneapolis, and they are going to turn that into a gold out, by the way, for the opener for Minnesota. That's on a Thursday night. Utah, Florida is the other game that night. Really, really good game.
Mm-hmm.
But Nebraska gets a big stage to themselves. It's the first weekend, essentially, of college football. I know it's not week 0. So people want to watch football. You don't have any NFL. So a lot of people are going to watch that game.
Yep.
Okay. Then they're going to turn around the next weekend because there's going to be a build-up to Dion's first home game, and everybody's going to be talking about it. And Fox's show will be there. I think game day will go Texas, Alabama, because they have that game later that day on ESPN. So Nebraska is going to be in the conversation, at least for the first 2 weeks. So I like the exposure that they're getting. It's what you do with it.
Yeah.
It's not a good sign in Boulder or when people talk about Nebraska, Colorado, regardless of what side of the border you live on. Oh, 10 a.m. local time. Well, they want to feature Dion.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to play in their prideful 11 a.m. window. You're playing at 10 a.m. local time. But it's not a good sign when one of the first things from a fan standpoint, you say, oh, thank God it's going to be a morning game because those people will not be liquored up and key in our cars. Okay, I'm just telling you,
true.
That's
True.
not a good thing to be affiliated with.
Right.
Okay. But that side of the border tried to make a big deal that Rule was taking a slight at Deion Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
Let me read you a quote before we get to the headlines because Matt Rule is doing the car wash this week with TV. Channel 7, Rob McCartney and Andy Kennedy went down to Lincoln and sat down with him. He sat down with Kevin Schutz at 10:11 in Lincoln. So Kevin sets him up with a question about all the fans that went to Boulder back in 2019 and how Colorado's trying not to let it happen in 2023 and that tickets were selling for as high as they were. Kevin's question to Matt Rule was, what do you expect for the scene when you guys play in Boulder in week 2? Remember, we're supposed to think that Rule slights Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
Quote, this is from Rule. I hope we play well. I know Coach Sanders. They sold out their spring game, so I'm sure they'll have a great crowd. Nebraska, we travel, so we'll have a great crowd. I just hope it's a great day for college football. When I think of the heyday of college football, you're thinking of Nebraska, Colorado.
Oklahoma. But
Did Matt Rule just commit his first faux pas as a head coach at Nebraska? I think about Texas A&M. I think about those games nationally, and I'm a kid in Pennsylvania. I'm watching these games way out here in places I've never been, and how football is just moving a couple of areas. So I think it's great, and we rekindled this game and play it for the next couple of years. One team was 1-11, the other was 4-8. And now here, because Colorado comes to Lincoln next year. I think it's great that we rekindled the game and play it the next couple of years, and maybe even beyond, because Coach Sanders will certainly do a great job, and we're going to try and do our best to do a great job as well.
He's being coy.
He knows the game.
Yeah, he does.
He knows the game.
Yeah, he does.
So for anybody that thinks that, Rule, when he goes into his office in North Stadium, has a floor mat and Deion's face on it.
As a Deion dartboard?
I don't think that's the case.
Yeah. He played it very coy, almost to the point you're like, okay, I see what you're saying. You're going the exact opposite of what maybe a little bit of the narrative was right there of, I know he'll do a good job, and by golly, we're going to try our best over here too. God willing, we'll both have successful stints.
So if you're wondering if there'll be any bulletin board stuff.
Yeah. Because this is usually the time that you might get a little bit of that during the silly season, during the list season, during the preview season.
Didn't
take the bait on that.
Anybody's doing that, I would hammer you. You were 1-11, the other team was 4-8. Okay.
Right. Right.
For some reason, TV wants in a great slot a matchup of two teams that were 5-19.
Oh yeah.
I wonder why.
Well, there's one guy on one sideline.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, I do, and we can be somewhat infatuated with Dion because I think all of college football is to see how this is going to work.
Sure.
I will think that most of the national audience, if you had to pick a side, will be a Nebraska fan.
I kind of agree.
How many times does that happen?
Yeah, Nebraska, America's team.
Where people are like, come on, Nebraska. Because the roster reconstruction, there's been a lot
Well, I think
that
it's
has been said about that.
personality.
Yep. And then there's that, there's just a arrogance to Dion, which, hey, to some it makes him great. To others, it rubs the wrong way. So you see that in this whole, you've only been in college football for a couple of years. You haven't even been in big boy football. Who the hell are you to be all flashy and to stake your claim like you are? You know, there's a narrative. Absolutely. And I think then you also, I don't even know how many people would look into how Matt Rulesword goes about presenting himself in the Nebraska football program under his guidance, but it is a little bit more normal. It's a little bit more
adultish.
Yes.
You haven't put anything out there.
There's an adult in the room?
You haven't put anything out there for 13 other teams in the Big Ten to put up in their offices and go,
right.
We have to adjust to them.
For the people in Iowa City to sit there and go, man, that's an interesting hire by Nebraska. And then you have a Sunday press conference and you make a comment about the rest of the Big Ten and Iowa City coaches. This is a true story, by the way. This has been told to me. They looked around and went, we got him. Yeah, so it's nice to have somebody that respects the game and also knows their place right now.
Exactly. Most important thing right there.
Now, if they start to string some stuff together, you might beat your chest a little bit more.
Puff your chest out a little bit.
But right now, you know your place. And I think that's important. You know where your place is in college football.
Absolutely.
All right, 716. Tim quickly says in the Equitable Bank inbox, I am one of the rare fans that got tickets last week to the Nebraska-Colorado game.
Congratulations.
And did not mortgage my house. He said, I love the 10 a.m. local kickoff. Get in, get out.
No urine thrown on you.
People will be able to, you're not going to have to stay an extra night in Denver, Boulder.
Yep.
See if the Rockies are in town that night.
Unless you want to.
No, get in, get out. Get in, get out, and it'll be a convoy of happy people coming back from Boulder. Yes, I said that.
Prediction.
See you, Buff Josh.
Buffy Josh.
All right, we'll go to the Mile High City. We like this guy. Parker Gabriel's coming up at 8. His former running mate, Steve Sipple. So sad they broke up PG and Sip. That was about this time last year, wasn't it? Yes, it was. That's right. Because I think On 3, this is their 1-year anniversary.
Yeah, it's right around there.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, because it's right around, it was either right before CWS or during CWS.
You know why I know it's their 1-year anniversary? Because if you signed up, I think it was $1, and people are getting hit today. Was probably like $100.
What's this charge?
Yeah. So happy birthday to On 3.
Yay.
Yeah, Sip. Yes, that's coming up on a year.
You think Sip knows?
When they broke up the Sip and PG show.
You think he knows it's been 1 year? Like on the day?
Some days I wonder if Sip knows what's Friday. Yeah, so I guess happy birthday to those guys. Good group of guys. Robin, by the way, is killing it with basketball coverage. All right, so Sip will join us. We'll do Kendall Rogers tomorrow. CJ Moore from The Athletic on college basketball will join us, and then Brian Edwards as well with his thoughts on Game 1 of the NBA Finals, which is tonight, Jimmy.
Yes, excited. I am. It'll be a good series, I hope. No sweeps, none of that. Piggybacking off what you said, the Minnesota game, 7 o'clock on Big Fox, August 31st. Pregame coverage will begin on Fox at 6:30. A week later, it'll be the Huskers and the Buffs at Folsom Field, 10 a.m. local time, 11 a.m. here. The Big Noon pregame show will broadcast live from Boulder. Bring your own urine bottles. Then the Huskers close the regular season. This is exciting with their annual Black Friday matchup with Iowa at Memorial Stadium, November 24th at 11 a.m., televised on CBS, preceded by The Price is Right, as Gary pointed out yesterday. It'll be Nebraska's first scheduled CBS game since the 2009 Gator Bowl, and Nebraska's first regular season game on CBS since November 23rd, 1990, the game at Oklahoma. And there were other game times announced yesterday for additional games of the season, 2 home games at Memorial Stadium, the home opener against Northern Illinois, 6 o'clock on FS1, while the homecoming game against Purdue will either kick off at 11, 2:30, or 3.
You know what just dawned on me? We're going to get Gus and Klatt back to back.
Yeah. Yes, we will.
All right, so people get your angst up for Klatt being a Colorado quarterback who has played against Nebraska doing a Colorado-Nebraska game.
And he will still do a fantastic job.
I think so.
You put that preconceived notion off to the side. He will do a very good job.
I think his record was 2-2. Yeah. Lost both games in Boulder, won both games in Lincoln. Weird.
That is weird.
Yep.
And then the last game, they cleared out the student section because they didn't know how to behave themselves.
The back end of the Big 12 between Nebraska and Colorado was so odd.
Yep.
Like the Sioux, sit your face down. Stiff arm as you went into the end zone.
Oh, poor Hawkins.
The clearing out of the
07 game, like 65-51.
The Gans game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the heyday of that competition. Got to remind people of what the record was when Colorado football was at its best. It had its moments, but talk about just awkward, really weird, how do you feel moments like in the last 10 years of Nebraska, Colorado football when they were in the Big 12. Just strange games.
Do you think Cody Hawkins' friends gave him that for a Christmas card, like him being posterized by Ndamukong Suh getting trucked? Like to the point that now he just has a big blown up copy, like wherever his residence is in his basement, it's like framed because now he's just leaning into it.
Better yet would have been when he had his bachelor party, invite Sue.
Yes.
Sue just shows up. Oh my God. I hope it happened.
You know, like
that would have been amazing.
Like, sir, we'll get to do this. We'll reminisce when we get to that week again. But think about field goals.
Mm-hmm.
Alex
Henry or a Josh Brown.
The Josh Brown one,
where Mike McIntyre, was it Mike? No, it wasn't Mike McIntyre. It was Barnett.
Yeah, it would have been Gary Barnett.
What am I thinking? Squibs the ball on the kickoff after Colorado taking the lead, and Nebraska drives down the field, and Josh Brown kicks the
like
field
they had
Bobby Newcomb had those couple big receptions, and
And Nebraska was such a better team too, and Colorado was right there for the upset. And it's like,
first play from scrimmage, Carlos Polk gets a touchdown.
Yep.
I could do this all day. The Illinois game, not on Peacock. It'll be on FS1, so relax. People were panicking over that one. It will be still on a Friday night, and it will kick off at 7 p.m. So there you go. You can plan accordingly. You can also plan accordingly for game 1 of the NBA Finals tonight. Heat and Nuggets at 7:30. Eric Spoelstra says altitude, schmaltitude.
Yeah.
Did it in San Antonio.
Oh.
I love my coach.
Oh, Spo. See, maybe that happened to Jay Will. Maybe they turned the AC off at one of the games he played out there.
Hey, it works. LeBron cramped in game 1 in 2014.
Yeah. Sometimes you have maintenance issues.
Spo, by the way, never won Coach of the Year.
Which is hard to believe.
It's criminal.
Heat never had a number 1 pick. They have not picked below 10 since 2008. Just saying.
According to Reggie Miller, there are a bunch of undrafted dudes on their roster. I mean,
the amount of undrafted players. I don't know if you guys know about this.
I don't know if anyone's going to say that.
Just makes the Jimmy Butler thing that much more exciting.
More NBA stuff. The Detroit Pistons have made a great hire as their new coaches. They're going to hire Monty Williams. He agrees to a 6-year, $78.5 million contract with the Pistons. It's the largest coaching deal in NBA history. He was fired by the Suns earlier in May after 4 seasons of their coach after they were eliminated by the Nuggets in the Western Conference semifinals. Named Coach of the Year last May. He was a 194-115 in the regular season, 27-19 in the playoffs for Phoenix. The Suns won a franchise record 64 games last season and reached the NBA Finals in 2021. Victor Wembanyama's NBA Summer League debut might come in Sacramento. The Spurs will the number 1 pick in the draft, which is 3 weeks from tonight, not that I'm counting, are expected to choose him among 6 teams that will play in Sacramento. The California Classic, one of the smaller summer leagues that precedes the one that everyone participates in Las Vegas. Also in the California Classic, the Hornets, who hold the number 2 draft pick, The Spurs and Hornets will open their schedules in Sacramento against each other, meaning number 1 and number 2 picks could face off in the Summer League opener, not just in Las Vegas. I need to get NBA TV. And finally, big news in college football other than kickoff times yesterday. The famous Cheez-It Bowl is now the Pop-Tarts Bowl. The game will still be played in Orlando, and it'll take place December 28th and kickoff at 4:45 p.m. Not sure if the winning coach gets a vat of Pop-Tarts dumped on him like the Mayo Bowl, but
So they do have these little mini Pop-Tarts now. They're kind of like little cookie things.
Yeah.
So maybe you could just have like a huge bowl of those and pour them all over. Because just think the regular Pop-Tarts, that would just be weird.
People are wondering, yeah, we still eat Pop-Tarts.
yeah. It's a Big 12 bowl, so I'm kind of hoping might have to go to that bowl.
I don't care where you are in your life and whether you have diet restrictions or not dietary restrictions, but if
You run it off.
If you walk by Pop-Tarts, you give it a second look. I challenge you.
Sounds like my rational.
If you don't put it in your shopping cart, you at least give it a second look.
You know,
I do.
They used to sell these low-fat Pop-Tarts.
No.
Those have disappeared, I noticed.
Yeah.
Because I do stop because they have all kinds of different flavors
Yeah.
nowadays.
I know.
Like Gatorade.
Yeah.
I still don't know what a jagged edge is other than, where a party at.
Now I do remember they had the low-fat Pop-Tart. I think they had like one of their signature ones, like an apple one. Because I remember getting them when we were young. And like my parents thought that would be more healthy for us.
Like a salad.
And it was not good.
And some people like to toast the Pop-Tart. Some just eat it right out of the packaging. Others,
I'm a toaster.
Yours truly, you take the 2 Pop-Tarts and you put ice cream between them.
Oh.
All right, quick story on the day that Josh Brown kicked that field goal. So Josh Brown canceled himself. He hasn't been seen. We used to have when he was playing at Nebraska, he slept on my couch one time. Had a little issue with a dental person.
Oh, yeah. Wait, what? So it was after that?
Yeah, he was bouncing around Lincoln, sleeping on people's couches. So I
know the dental student incident. Donnybrook.
I haven't talked to Josh Brown probably in about 15, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
But he basically canceled himself. Okay, so he's wherever. That day that he kicks that field goal, because this is 2020 or 2000 against Colorado, that Nebraska wins 34-32. So he kicks a 29-yard field goal, expires. Everybody that knew Josh at the time, he was from small town Oklahoma. He claimed that he once dated Carrie Underwood. That would be a hill that he would die on. That yes, I dated Carrie Underwood before she became big.
Josh Brown.
I was like, oh, okay. But he was from Foyle, Oklahoma, and really, really small, not well-to-do town.
Mm-hmm.
His dad was an interesting character. So I don't know how much of they had as a relationship, but his dad was very proud that his son was playing college football and was kicking at Nebraska. So I was doing sidelines for that game, and he kicks the field goal. Everybody runs on the field and they lift up Josh Brown.
Yeah.
That was a big moment.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a game Nebraska survived because Nebraska was number 9 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember how, that happened. Colorado drives down. They get the touchdown. They get the 2-point conversion. There's 44 seconds to go. Still don't know why Barnett, squib kicked the ball instead of, launching it into the end zone on the kickoff.
Yeah.
Well, that's neither here nor there. So Josh Brown kicks the field goal, and all of his teammates run on the field. All the media is running the field. I'm running on the field, and here comes his dad. So his dad would come to Nebraska games in jorts and a ratty T-shirt.
Yeah.
It was chilly that day.
And his dad is out on the field while his son is being lifted up in the air. And his dad is jumping up and down and going, "That's my son. That's my son. That's my son."
In jorts?
Now I got to go pull up the video and watch that on there.
I want to see if I could spot him.
I've watched that game.
That's my son. In this really, really deep Oklahoma accent.
Yeah.
That's my son.
Was he wearing jorts that day? Because it could have been chillier. I can't remember.
It was chilly.
No.
No jorts that day?
So that was, of course, a Black Friday game.
Yeah.
But actually, the weather was pretty nice that day.
Yeah. Because
that was the Whopper game where Colorado, they had issues getting in, and so they ended up having Whoppers for Thanksgiving dinner the night before.
When you have it your way, it just tastes better.
Mm-hmm.
That's my son.
That's so funny.
That was my son. Hey, that would have been, and all kidding aside, that would have been a terrible Nebraska loss because that Colorado team was brutal. I think that might have been a 3-win Colorado team.
Yeah, that's why it was like, oh my God, they're going to really
Craig
lose
Oaks
this
was a starting quarterback, and that's.
What was Cortland Johnson was the running back who came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. They just had a game. offensively, all of a sudden, just like it opened up.
Go for two after the touchdown instead of the tie. Yeah, I remember that well.
Those teams are dangerous.
Oh, it's Barnett.
Nothing to lose.
So Barnett, they were driving, and remember, Barnett calls a timeout, and like the whole Colorado team surrounds him on the sidelines. Yeah. I'm like, what is this year?
Galvanized.
What are we doing? All right, 7:29. When we come back, more on college football, and on the heels of the mention about the Pop-Tarts replacing the Cheez-Its. I think if we had a poll question, Pop-Tarts greater than Cheez-Its?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know.
I'm team Pop-Tart.
I would agree with that. I know some people that will die on the Cheez-It hill.
But remember, they had a Cheez-It sweet. Will they have a Pop-Tart sweet?
Oh, I hope so. I'm going to find my way into that.
So as the bowls were announced yesterday, gosh, that was a great college football content day. We have to determine what makes a good bowl sponsorship. I have it pegged after Pop-Tarts replaced Cheez-Its. I'll explain. You are very inquisitive looking at me.
I am. This is where you put the marketing hat on, so I'm always excited about your ideas.
You're gonna love if you're ever wondering what a bowl should be sponsored by. I'm gonna tell you what is the number one qualification when we come back. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley with Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. Hey, a qualification to get yourself in a great vehicle, top-notch customer service, be part of the growing Woodhouse auto family is stop by Woodhouse Buick, GMC.com at 119th and I. As we kick off June, they've got new deals. They've got plenty of inventory, new and pre-owned, all for you in their climate-controlled indoor showroom at 119th and I. They've got those stylish SUVs that fit the family comfortably. You know, now that school's out, you want to travel. You got all the sports going on, so you need a lot of room. You can find that in their SUV variety from the Buick family. Also, online, you can see all the inventory. They've made it easy because they do have something for everyone. Not only the stylish SUVs, they've got capable trucks, light duty that or for business or for pleasure, and you can see it all. Again, they make it very, very easy on you to find the vehicle that is right for you. So shop Woodhouse Buick GMC first and experience the difference, 119th and I, or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Mornings with Sharp and Handley.
Is Omaha a Big Ten city? When you are in Omaha as a sports fan, not just football, men's basketball, the two top sports, does Omaha feel like a Big Ten city? Like Big Ten sports matter in Omaha, Nebraska?
No. Nebraska sports matters.
Yep. Which is kind of where college sports is going, is you only pay attention to the team that you love and follow and cover. And the rest is, yeah, you do, but not as passionate.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Can't rule out a stray shower or storm Thursday morning. Then a little better chances to see scattered thunder showers in the afternoon and early evening. Otherwise, expect partly to mostly cloudy skies with highs in the mid to upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Are you sick of spring allergies and itchy contacts? Get rid of them today at KuglerVision.com.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Backlund Plumbing Time-Saving Traffic Center. Still getting reports of that fuel spill accident near 42nd and Ames, so please be cautious if you're in that area. Westbound along I-80, be prepared for some delay near 144th, and along Industrial Road, be prepared for a significant slowdown from 149th to 138th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
Honk if you love trucks and bucks. The Nebraska Lottery's most popular scratch ticket is back, and you can get one of 8 beautiful new trucks. Visit any Nebraska Lottery retailer and play today. Top prize odds, 1 in 336,000.
For unmatched cardiac expertise, put your heart in the right place with Nebraska Medicine, where you'll find the most heart advances in the state, telehealth appointments to make your care even more convenient, and a genetics clinic to help avoid future heart issues. With multiple locations, our world-leading care is just a heartbeat from home. For matters of the heart, this is where you begin. Visit nebraskamed.com/heart.
Home is with you wherever that may be.
Hey, everybody, it's Michael Severe for Ted and Wally's 2 locations, 12th and Jackson in the old market, the original location, and of course out in Benson as well, right next to Taste of New Orleans. It's done the old-fashioned way. Ultra premium ice cream, 20% butterfat, made in a truly old-fashioned machine that's been making ice cream for over 100 years. They take care of you as well with so many different flavors, 3,000 different flavors. In fact, whatever you're looking for, you'll be able to find it. 35 years in business tells you how good of a job Ted and Wally's does. Call ahead, get yourself a couple of quarts to put in the freezer, or maybe a half a gallon as well, so you're ready no matter what time of day it is to have Ted and Wally's ice cream. Head on out to the old market against 12th and Jackson and check them out. Get you some ice cream from there, or go out to Benson where they have it right next to Taste of New Orleans. Grab some food and some ice cream and a good time in Benson as well. When you head to either of the 2 locations and enjoy some ice cream, make sure you tell them that Severe sent you.
Sundays with the Storm Chasers are packed with fun for the entire family. Every Sunday features free entertainment for kids 12 and under. Brought to you by Nebraska Medicine. Want to get a free Sunday berm ticket courtesy of Hy-Vee? Bring 3 cans of non-perishable food items to the Warner Park box office. Wrap up the day with Kids Run the Bases, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Nebraska. Visit OmahaStormChasers.com.
Omaha Storm Chasers family. Everyone get on your feet, stir up the storm, we're family.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
We back. Trey Alexander, Keisei Tominaga. How'd you feel about a Trey Alexander, Ryan Kalkbrenner, Baylor Shireman, Stephen Ashworth, Mason Miller starting 5? Feel good about that if you're Creighton?
Should be.
Isaac Trout off the bench.
Yep.
Fred King off the bench, 10 to 15 minutes, maybe a little bit more. Farabello. Where's Jason Green? Where's Lawson? Kind of people have forgotten about the transfer from Memphis. This will be, they will have a better opportunity with the way their schedule is set up to develop depth and to find which will be pretty important, a backup point guard. It can't be just a combo of Alexander and Ashworth because you're going to need a third guy to handle the ball. Like, where does Doetzler fit? They got good questions. They're not, oh no, we have more questions than answers.
Questions/concerns.
Yeah, they have good questions.
Yeah.
But if that was your starting 5, I think you would feel good beginning a season as some guys figure out their role.
I would totally agree with that.
But don't forget about Lawson. I think there's some untapped stuff there that maybe in this system he will have more of a prevalent role and more of a comfort level than he did playing for Penny at Memphis.
He's such a long, watching a lot of his highlights. I can't tell if it's just because it's sort of effortless, because what takes most guys 2 steps to get to from point A to point B, it basically takes him 1. That it almost looks like there's sort of this uncoordination, because I know, part of his issues are in turnovers. He's a spot up shooter and he can get to the rim, but he's just so long. And watching the way that he sort of attacks the rim, it's just interesting. I'm trying to figure out if That's just sort of, it's just kind of the way he's built and just kind of a gangly guy. We talked about his wingspan as well. Like, is there still some uncoordination there, or is it just different? It just looks different when he's got the basketball compared to what you would see guys that are handling the basketball a little bit more.
Yeah. Mid-season, we need to check in with Memphis fans that have watched him play and see what he looks like in this system and see what the reaction is. And I have a feeling they will go, oh, dang.
Mm-hmm.
It's a better opportunity to stretch 4 in Omaha than there was in Memphis. Now, in terms of Nebraska starting 5, Bob asked an interesting question here on Twitter about Tominaga. He said, I'm looking at what Nebraska has returning, trying to piece together a starting 5. Is Tominaga still a starter? I think there would have to be something drastically go wrong for Tominaga not to be one of your 5.
Yeah.
Will he be I don't know that he'll be the number one. I don't know that a Tominaga is your number one option offensively, but they may not have a true number one option offensively in Lincoln, which actually may be okay, but it'll be another one of those years of, okay, Greasel Walker and I keep saying this about Tominaga. Just like I don't think Creighton can run back what they did last year. This is a new year.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be new challenges.
Yeah.
People are going to be talking about you all the time. People know who Tominaga is now, okay? And he has to have a season where he's good from November all the way into March.
Yeah.
It can't be, I'm still playing 25 minutes a night, but I'm not like I was in the second half. When you were touching 20, but you were averaging double figures, and your game benefited other people on the floor by your cutting and the attention that you drew. Casey's got to be better than he was last year for Nebraska to get to where they want to go and to where he wants to go. He can't live on last year and go, oh man, that was a great run. And I think that's why he's put his trust in Hoiberg, because Hoiberg's probably delivered that message as Casey. That was great, but that's what you want.
Yeah.
So let's work on your body. Let's work on your defensive skills.
Yes.
We're going to find ways to get you open. Because you're never going to stop when you get on the floor. You're a ball of energy and you're always moving and you're always cutting. We're going to be able to take care of that. Let me work on the other stuff, and we'll make you a complete player that can be a 30-plus game guy a year, where you can put up the 13 a game, over the course of a whole season instead of just over the course of about 15, 16 games.
Yeah, can you pick up from where you left off? Because you mentioned another area that people are not even going to pay much attention to when it comes to Casey's game, and that's his defense. It was awful for a while. It was terrible. And whether it was just not getting back or it was having the inability to get around certain space, it got better. I don't want to say it was great, but it got better at the end of the season, just like his overall game as he got more minutes. And so you do wonder, as he had more of an established role, you hope that that's a sign of things to come, where you're able to, again, pick up from where you left off of the things he was doing. Not just the three-point shots, too, but you also hit on it. The way that he moves away from the baseball, the creativity to be able to get open, but also to benefit his teammates. That was also really big when he was on the floor, because as the word was out on Casey, there was more attention paid to him, yet he was still working to get through, to get space, to get the ball. But also you're now having other areas of the floor that are vacated where guys can win matchups. And so to me, it comes down to, can he pick up from where he left off? Because where he left us with offensively, we already know that, but even defensively, he was improved. And he doesn't need to be a lockdown dude, but can he still be a little bit more of a higher level defender that he kind of showed you there towards the end of the season?
And you could have Japanese Steph Curry and you could have Mongolian Mike on the same roster.
What? Sounds like a TV show.
Man,
it does.
Welcome to Nebraska basketball. Nebraska has kicked the tires on a Dayton transfer. Nebraska does have 2 scholarships left. Okay, the Pop-Tart Bowl is coming to Orlando. Fantastic. Well,
toasted.
You can do microwave too if you're lazy.
Oh, we've done that before.
Yeah.
It's still not the same, but yeah. I like a little bit of the crunch that you get out of the toaster, as opposed to just the heat.
We have some in the vending machine, I think.
Do we?
They've gone up in price. It's ridiculous.
I don't,
everything.
So they're going to sponsor a bowl game. I'm wondering why it took this long.
Yeah.
But you think about some of the great names of bowl games, of the sponsorships, like the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl that happened in Tampa. You had the Makers Wanted Bahamas Bowl, which was appropriate for the Bahamas Bowl, which is just an absolute
gong show.
As it should be.
Is that the one where they had people just randomly walking around on the sidelines and on the
that ended up in teams' locker rooms.
Yeah, that was it.
They were drinking
They
on
had
the
their own coolers.
sidelines.
Yeah, they were bringing in their own coolers.
Beer. If you ever had the pleasure to be in Shreveport for the Poulon Weed Eater Independence Bowl, the bowl in St. Petersburg, which the Bad Boys has had they've been the St. Petersburg Bowl presented by Beef O'Brady's, which is a equivalent of it's a DJ's in Florida.
Yeah.
Right.
Heard of the Beef O'Brady's Bowl.
They had it was the Bitcoin.
Yep.
Remember at one time we had the Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl?
Yes.
Lasted like 1 year.
We've had War Bowl. We had the Duck Commander Independence Bowl. We had the Cherry Bundy Tart Cherry Boca Raton Bowl. Then we have the Tax Slayer Bowl.
Yeah.
So here's my reasoning behind if I can tell if you're a good bowl or not with your sponsorship. Because let's be honest, I just rattled off some and you're like, what is a battle frog?
Yeah.
Where do I get crucial.com humanitarian bowl?
Which became the Potato Bowl.
Yeah. Gallery furniture. We don't have a gallery
Yeah,
furniture.
we do not have
here.
a gallery furniture.
Mattress Mac. Hello.
If you can get an item at a convenience store, that is a great bowl sponsorship. You can get
Tostitos?
Pop-Tarts at a convenience store.
Yeah.
You can get Cheez-Its at a convenience store. You could get Frosted Flakes at a convenience store. Remember when we had a Frosted Flakes bowl?
It was like the...
Well, now we have the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl.
Yeah, the Tony the Tiger. I was just going to say the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Okay, I see where you're going with this.
If you can get it at a convenience store, it has a good shot of being a fantastic sponsorship of a bowl game.
You know what? You could get it at a convenience store now, and I know they no longer sponsor the Sugar Bowl, but you could have got a Nokia.
Oh, I thought you were going to say USF&G.
You could probably get yourself a burner cell phone.
No.
And a Nokia.
Can't you? And you never know. You might go to a convenience store and bump into somebody that wants to get you involved in a scheme, and they're trying to pitch AdvoCare to you.
I'm sure you could probably dabble in crypto.
There's always a game every year on the Instagram and the Facebook to name your own bowl game. I believe it is the last thing you ate and the last place you shopped. And I have it reversed. So it's the last place you shopped and the last thing you ate. That's the name of your bowl.
So the last place I shopped.
And any shop. So a convenience store, grocery store. What doesn't matter.
So it'd be the Hy-Vee pulled pork bowl.
There you go.
Oh, I like that. That's fun. Okay. Yeah. The Hy-Vee pulled pork bowl. Hy-Vee, this one's on you. Step up. Let's get a bowl game.
Played in Omaha.
And, we already have the pregame meal set up for all the VIPs. Hy-Vee's famous pulled pork.
That's the name.
I didn't know they had favorite. They're famous for pulled pork, but that was the last place I shopped, and that's the last thing I ate.
You can go to a convenience store and get pulled pork.
Yes, you can.
If you can get it in a convenience store, it's got a shot to be a really good bowl sponsor.
That's actually really true.
Yeah.
Because, even, back in the day for the Fiesta Bowl and the Tostitos.
You could go and get Tostitos.
Yep.
Great bowl.
Mm-hmm. Could you do some FedExing there, too?
Yes. Some. Hey, some really, really upscale convenience stores.
Yeah.
Buc-ee's.
They got a FedEx stop.
Huh.
FedEx drop-off.
So, Pop-Tarts.
So they will do well.
Will do well.
They will do well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
I can get on board with that logic.
Said it last night. Kansas football, Pop-Tarts bowl or bust. In parentheses, Alamo, so I can finally go home after 4 years.
And remember, a lot of the bowl games, they have their own mascot too. So I'm just assuming this is going to be
giant Pop-Tart.
Pop-Tart. Should be cool.
He's no Obi the Orange, but yeah.
I think it'll be good.
Let's see if they have a dedicated mascot.
Remember the
Cheez-It had a mascot.
The Obi the Orange and the Mark Mangino picture.
Oh,
which
it's epic.
Obviously,
that was my Facebook picture for 6 months back in 2008.
It's I think it was the Levitard show's avatar for a very, very long time. I remember laughing about that, thinking it was kind of funny. I got yelled at by somebody.
Was it Mark Mangino?
No.
Oh.
I just thought it was really funny that he took a picture with Obi the Orange Bowl, and obviously that picture sort of
made the rounds,
created its own jokes. I remember bringing it up long after the fact.
He took a picture with somebody that was larger than he was.
Yeah, and I remember I talked about.
Yeah, nobody remembers Frank Beamer's picture with him.
And I got an email from a person who said I was just completely classless to find the humor in that. I'm like,
lighten up, Francis.
Sorry, yeah, exactly. Okay, well, You tell me you look at that picture and you're not getting a little bit of a chuckle.
Was it your neighbor?
It was not my
That's what I thought.
Hey, the mascot for the Pop-Tart is the official mascot is Milton the Toaster.
Perfect.
Oh, it's a toaster.
Oh, that's
Does
perfect.
it have like a Pop-Tart coming out of it?
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
This is the bowl.
Yeah,
right
I'm ready.
here.
I'm ready
Of
for
all
this
the
one.
bowls.
So
this is
basically,
it.
out of the mascot, well, they have a couple of mascots that, are the Pop-Tart, and then they got legs coming out the bottom of them.
Yeah.
But if they have Milton the Toaster, the Pop-Tart comes out of his head, which would be great for kids.
That is, well, yeah.
Great.
It's kind of symbolism, though.
Big
When
12 versus ACC.
When
if
you're a kid,
wondering.
you got Pop-Tarts on the mind, Pop-Tarts on the brain. So you're
Yeah,
going to see
got them on my mind right now.
I kind of do too.
Who plays in this game?
ACC and Big 12.
What Big 12 coach would be? Oh, Sarkisian.
Yeah, if Texas falls and they end up in the Pop-Tart Bowl, I'm there for it. There's your last Big 12 game.
And the photo op, Sarkisian has to take a picture with the Pop-Tart.
Yep.
And that's his goodbye to Austin.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be one that would maybe sting.
This is where I wish Bill Snyder were still coaching, because that would be funny too to see Bill Snyder with Milton the Toaster.
Mm-hmm. I think Lance would he'd embrace it, probably have a little fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Friend of the show.
Yeah. Lance Leipold could do
Matt
well with
Campbell.
that. Chris Kleinman, I think, would also.
He'd be a good sport.
Yeah. What is the date of the Pop-Tart Bowl?
December 28th, 4:45 p.m. Plan ahead.
So your post Christmas bowl.
Yeah.
So it's a respectable bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a really good point though about the convenience store items. That you are a good bowl.
You're going down the list now in your mind.
Yeah, I kind of am.
Yeah, I got to go back to the schedule here.
Hey, speaking of Bill Snyder, so I think it would be appropriate that Sarkisian came into Austin employing a coach whose girlfriend is a pole assassin, and he leaves by taking a picture at a bowl game with Milton the Toaster. You brought up Bill Snyder.
He didn't either.
So
wasn't that her name?
Yeah, pole assassin.
Yeah.
Pole assassin. You're on deck.
I never had to call up a pole assassin to the main stage. Never.
Destiny, yes. Pole assassin.
I'm
no.
kind of upset about that. But anyway, sorry.
He's still on his staff, and they're still together. I have a question. You brought up Bill Snyder. Who is running Bill Snyder's Twitter account? So Bill Snyder is somewhat active on Twitter.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a grandchild.
So when Tina Turner passed away, on Tina Turner's Twitter account, they announced her passing. And Rachel, who works at Fox, said, no, she was my favorite. Bill Snyder responded. He said, and mine. I have every record she recorded, as talented as anyone, anywhere. Do you think that Bill Snyder is running his own Twitter account?
Oh, I hope so.
Maybe he's got perspective now. And
he has time.
As life has slowed down.
You're not working 21 hours a day. You can actually sit.
He feels like he can reveal information.
So, we don't have blue check marks unless you pay for them.
Yeah.
It is listed as the official Twitter account for ex-football coach at Coach Bill Snyder.
How many followers
Now, he
does
doesn't. He has 34,000
Yeah, I follow him.
followers.
Okay.
Now, he doesn't tweet a ton, but he did retweet a GIF when Ohio State missed the field goal against Georgia.
Yeah.
He retweeted that.
He was up late on New Year's.
So I had not looked at his account in a long time, but it did show up somewhere on my timeline that he had responded about Tina Turner. I'm like, Bill Snyder? Now he only follows 28 people.
Okay.
I'm not one of them.
I wouldn't rule out Bill doing.
Well, I think it is him.
doing.
He
the
once
tweeting.
famously called Twitter Tweedledee when he was anti-Twitter.
And now he's embracing it.
Oh yeah, he's
It's either that or it's one of the grandchildren.
If he gets the TikTok, then
yeah, I wouldn't
or at least the
surprise me.
Instagram.
Hey, think about this. If you're a coach and you're one of those guys who is a tactician where you feel like you got to keep everything close to the vest, that most coaches do. All of a sudden, you don't really have to worry about that. I got a lot of things to get off my chest. I want to be free with the information. I want to share it with everyone. So it wouldn't shock me if it really is Bill. It might be Bill.
Not so secretive anymore. Yeah.
Boy, I need to purge all this information, all my thoughts. Now I can be genuine. Couldn't really do that.
It was a face mask.
Now, see, if he does tweet that, then you know it's really him.
He's liking and tweeting a lot of stuff about his book.
Oh,
okay.
It is slated to come out.
You scared me with retweets and likes. I was like, where is this going?
Does it say when his Twitter account originated? Like what was the date? Because did he create this Twitter account just so he could promote a future book sale?
He joined in July of 2014.
Okay.
That's him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's been verified.
Then I think he's...
But not verified.
But I think I would say there's a good chance it's really Bill Schneider.
Yeah.
That's funny.
He's got perspective now.
Gigi the Prophet on Twitter, do you think they'll dump a thing of Pop-Tarts on the winning coach? The answer is yes.
Yeah, but I think they would be better off doing the minis.
I mean, yeah.
It's like delicious confetti.
And the winning team on the stage, they'll get Pop-Tarts to eat.
Yeah.
The Orange Bowl, you eat an orange. And
yeah, remember guys who like crack open
chips.
bags of Tostitos? You just crack open a box of Pop-Tarts and start chucking them out like pancakes. It'd be good.
All right. Parker Gabriel's coming up at the top of the hour. Steve Sipple as well. CJ Moore stopped by from The Athletic. Where does he have Creighton in his way too early, but now makes more sense because rosters are starting to get set. Top 25. And Brian Edwards stops by on this Thursday edition to kick off June on 1620 The Zone. All right, game one of the NBA Finals is tonight. Time to crown a champion. FanDuel is going to help you do that. They want you to be part of the excitement because right now new customers can get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's $2,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Are you taking Denver in 6? Jimmy Butler, points and rebounds, over 34.5 tonight. A lot of options, Nick, on FanDuel.
And Denver -9 tonight. And, again, great promotions going on every day. Safe and secure app, and you get paid instantly, most importantly. There's no better place to bet all of the finals action than America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/zone and get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's FanDuel.com/zone. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
Watching a ball game at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is pretty awesome. Oscar's offers the MLB package, so your team is always on their upgraded audio-video system, and nothing is better than watching the game with a cold frosty one, Oscar's Pizza, or award-winning char-buffed wings. And with daily lunch and dinner specials, it's really a no-brainer. So get ready to watch your favorite team play ball at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's half-off deal is for 2 $25 gift vouchers for the price of one from Early Bird Brunch in the Blackstone District, Shadow Lake Town Center, and Regency Landing. Early Birds open 7 days a week, offering a variety of fun pancakes, eggs, Benedicts, scrambles, and other delicious brunch options, including mimosas.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for our 11th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an inclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let us handle all the details steps away on the south side of Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination. Blur Events takes care of all the work so you can enjoy the day.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates. It's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The best part of your summer night is listening to Royals baseball on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
The best part of your summer night is listening to Royals baseball on 1620 The Zone.
From the Backlund Plumbing Time-Saving Traffic Center. Still getting reports of that fuel spill accident near 42nd and Ames, so please be cautious if you're in that area. Westbound along I-80, be prepared for some delay near 144th. And along Industrial Road, be prepared for a significant slowdown from 149th to 138th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Les Hills Harley-Davidson.
Riding season is here, and it's time to trade in and trade up. Or, if you ain't riding it, Les Hills Harley-Davidson is buying it. Sell your Harley-Davidson today. Les Hills Harley-Davidson. Rise up and ride on.
The cigar enthusiasts at Hearth Cigars and Pipes are a pretty diverse bunch of humans. Some enjoy an adult beverage or two, others pass the time with a competitive yet friendly game of dominoes. Still others enjoy shooting some pool downstairs, while more than a few are just satisfied with each other's company. The common thread with all of them is the awesomeness that is their favorite cigar from the humidor. Hearth Cigars and Pipes, just off the 48th Street exit from I-680 at the corner of Mormon Bridge Road and McKinley, and at hearthcigars.com.
Hi, this is Kathy Knoyer with Knoyer Garden Center. The beauty and color of spring is in our greenhouse, featuring thousands of gorgeous hanging baskets and hundreds of varieties of Knoyer grown product. Come in and talk with our family of employees who will help you find what you're looking for. Whether it's home decor, annuals, perennials, shrubs, tropicals, or vegetables, we have it all. Knoyer Garden Center is located between Highway 370 and Cornhusker on 66th Street in Papillion. Open daily, 9 to 7.
At Knoyer Garden Center, everybody's got a green thumb.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Tired of having a website that doesn't reflect the quality of your brand? At JM Online, we specialize in custom websites for unique business needs. Your website should be more than just a digital billboard. It should be a powerful tool that grows your business. Awarded Omaha's best web developers in 2023, we're dedicated to local business success. So if you're ready to take your website to the next level, go to jmonline.com and request a call.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Halftime. Brought to you by Heart Cigars and Pipes Lounge, just off 680 and 48th Street, next to Cubby's. It's Heart Cigars and Pipes Lounge.
My friend, you're going to see tomorrow, but we saw the zone. Definitely, we didn't see this kind of zone because they are switching they're switching zones, and they're really messing up the game and in their favor. And we just need to be focused and solid in what we are doing. Because that's why they're great. That's why they're winning. That's why they're in the finals. You know, they're messing the game in their way, and they're doing that really good.
Just take it easy on Bam. I have nightmares of against the 2-3 zone. Joker being in the middle of the floor, what he can do. Oh, NBA Finals are tonight. Denver and Miami in the Mile High City, where we find our good friend from the Denver Post, Parker Gabriel, who this time last year, if he was still here, he'd be writing about the schedule and kickoffs for Nebraska, but instead, he's covering the NBA Finals. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. You know, it's 13 weeks until football season around here. What are you doing?
Well, yeah, I'm going to Broncos OTA this morning before game on the finals tonight.
Oh, you got a day. See, and I know.
So yeah, we got football, we got hoops, we got a little bit of everything.
Hey, so let's stick with your current beat, the Broncos. We'll talk about the Nuggets here in a moment. So now that Sean Payton is in the facility and he's been on the field, And you've had a chance to watch Russell Wilson without Sean Payton, Russell Wilson with Sean Payton. What's a difference or two you notice on how that relationship is going to be different this year?
Well, I mean, we haven't seen a lot of Russell Wilson with Sean Payton so far. Just one OTA day. Obviously, no pads. Number 2 will be today. The second one we've seen at least. But I think already there's probably going to be some structural changes, and then there'll be, some role changes or just a different dynamic with Sean Payton in the building. The first thing is I think they'll benefit from just having not only a coherent offensive plan, but a Sean Payton offensive plan. I mean, he's been, it's not like he's won every single season he's ever coached or anything like that, but he's typically had good offensive teams. He's a good offensive coach. So I think that will benefit Russ, and so will, running the football and playing not exactly the way they played when he was in Seattle, but probably closer to that than they did last year with Nathaniel Hackett. And then, it's just the question is going to be how much can Russell play on time? How much can he play within the system? How much can he benefit from, what should be a decent run game and maybe a better offensive line? And it's kind of funny because these are all parts of the conversation that were had last year too. It's just that almost literally none of it came to fruition last year. And I think with Sean Payton, there's a little bit more reason to believe that at least some of it will come to fruition this year. We'll see about that, but certainly the track record's there.
Yeah, you bring up Sean Payton in the just sort of a coherent offensive plan. We know we're just so used to what he was able to do in New Orleans, and he knew exactly what he had, what he sort of identified to run that system. When you look at this Denver roster right now as it stands, and I think there's still a lot to be said about Russell Wilson and what we know he can do. But as far as comparing some of the pieces that really made that Saints offense work, do you feel like this Broncos offense is getting close to that? I mean, at least getting some of the parts that could make it very intriguing where he could have a similar type of successful offense?
Well, I think he spent most of the offseason so far trying to get those pieces in place. They've traded out. I think they have 35 guys on their 90-man roster that weren't on the team last year.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. It's a little. I think it's in the top 5 in the NFL. So it's not unheard of, but it's near the top of the league. And so one of the things about Sean, I think any coach would tell you this, but Peyton really believes in it and is very specific about it. Everybody that he brings in, he has an idea of a role for. So if he can't see what you bring to offense, defense, special teams, some combination, then he's not going to bring you in just because you might be a decent player. So they have added a lot of guys who you figure, you have to make the 53, you have to earn your spot, but there's a lot of guys that I think that they feel like they've identified some kind of role for, whether it's, adding to the running back room with a guy like Samaje Perine behind Javonte Williams when he gets healthy, some receivers that can do different things than the guys they have. Obviously, they still have Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick coming back from an ACL injury, but they've added other guys to that room, and they drafted Marvin Mims in the second round. So all of that combined with Vance Joseph sort of jumping in to a defense that has, a pretty decent amount of talent coming back, some questions up front, but a team that, a group that was pretty good last year. I think there's reason to think that they can turn it around, but it's not going to just happen right away. And I think for the most part, it's sort of like Nebraska. I think for the most part, the prognostications will be, I think people have learned their lesson for the most part, and they'll be pretty cautious on that front.
Hey, I don't know how much you dabble in this, but I'm always curious to hear people talk about this edition of Mile High Stadium. Why is there talk about the new ownership group wants a new stadium? That stadium isn't very old.
Yes, it's 22 years old, and I think it's most of the talk is because they've acted like an ownership group that wants to build a new stadium. And we'll see. There's 10 years left on the lease, so it's not something that they have to figure out right away. And it's something that I think that if they're going to do, they want to have a whole lot of information and research behind to make the decision. I think it's more a matter of, it's less a matter of does it have to happen and more a matter of the types of things you can do or do when you build a new stadium in this era. It's about building, commercial development and having real estate around an arena. It's about, maybe downsizing a little bit and having all of the bells and whistles. And I think one of the things that they've explored is how much of that can they do, and they're currently exploring this. How much of that can you do in your current building, and if you want to really get it right, is it something that you can build into your current infrastructure, or do you have to build new? So it's a long-term decision. Obviously, they've put more than $100 million into renovation into Empower Field this offseason, including just a massive video board and some other stuff. So they're not sitting idly by and letting Empower Field go, wayward so that they can throw their hands up and say, hey, we need a new building. But certainly it seems as though they're trending toward, perhaps thinking about a new stadium here in the next, half a decade or so.
Park talking hoops tonight. Game one of the NBA Finals out there as well. We were getting into it. Spoelstra made a comment that he's kind of dismissing the whole, the altitude impact and how that affects. Look, I mean, you're active around there too. What's your impression of the altitude factor as it pertains to activity in Colorado?
Yeah, I can appreciate the sentiment about we're not going to worry about that. But it's also science. Mm-hmm. Like, the air is thinner. So there is something to be said for, the fact that it's tough to, play with the Nuggets for 4 quarters, especially when they're, operating in top gear. No matter where you are. And I'd imagine it's marginally more difficult to do that here in Denver. So I don't think the altitude is the whole reason why the Nuggets haven't lost here so far in the playoffs. That's also because, home court advantage is a thing, and they're very good. They're the number 1 seed in the West for a reason. But I don't think it hurts their ability to just sort of turn on the jets. We've seen it happen several times in the postseason, and just over the course of the regular season, they were really good at Ball Arena. So, whether it's altitude or whether it's just the fact that, when Denver gets on these runs where they make a bunch of shots and they're playing with pace that they're really hard to stop. How much of it is the fact that you're a mile up? Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say, but they certainly put teams on their heels, especially at Ball Arena, at some point in most games this postseason. And and Miami's been really tough. So if Miami can stave that off in games 1 and 2, more power to them. But that's been a big challenge for everybody the Nuggets have faced so far.
Hey, when people say Jokic is the best player in the world, you're not going to find a lot of arguments. People will throw out Giannis. But what is, and it's not your beat, but you do get to cover them as they've gone through the postseason. What's the difference between what you've seen when you're watching Joker on TV and then you see him in person? Because I always like to say he's kind of like a walrus when you see him on TV, the way he moves, and then he's making shots and he's making plays and he's passing the ball and you go, how is this guy doing it? But then I've heard that people watch him in person and are like, nope, I'm not surprised at all. Is there a difference between when you saw him on TV and then you see him in person about how good a basketball player he is?
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things where these guys are always, when you're there in person, just the athleticism is always on display more. It's kind of funny. I remember talking to a guy, one of the assistant coaches at Montana State. I think he's at Utah State now, Chris Haslam, when I covered college hoops. And he's a big guy in England. And he always said that he thought it was funny that, I guess it was maybe especially with some of the European guys, but was with big guys in general, any post player. There are a few that are legitimately not athletic. And certainly if you're comparing a guy like Jokic to, a wing player in the NBA, right? He doesn't have the same vertical and all of that, but that's a different conversation just like physiologically as a human than saying that somebody's literally not athletic. And so it doesn't matter if it's Jokic, if it's, your sort of average center in the NBA. Like, the thing that's so impressive when you see these guys up close is just the way they move. And Jokic is like that, even though, you're right. When you watch him on TV, he kind of lumbers and all that. And then this postseason thing that I think, it goes a little bit under the radar is he has, every time a ball goes through the hoop or every time he gets a rebound, he sprints, and that's a little thing, but it's something that they've it's a consistency, I think, that they've found in the postseason. That's, I think, is partially a credit to him. And then just when you're watching a game in person, you see more of the floor than when you're watching on TV, and so you just get a little more of the sense of he sees a guy cutting before the guy starts cutting. He sees a defense set up one way, and you don't even know it until it's already happened, because it's not like I see things the way he sees things. But it's just one of those. He's one of those guys that is a marvel to watch, no matter what. And when you see him in person, it's even an extra level.
Parker, I want to get into the defensive matchup of this finals, and knowing that Miami has been a elite defensive level team all year, but what Denver has done in the playoffs has been up there defensively too. What have you seen from the regular season to now in the finals, or I should say now in the postseason, from Denver, that has really kind of shored up that defense to where that is, a significant factor in this series, knowing that not only do they have the best offense, but they've got a pretty high-level defense too.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, part of it is when you get to the postseason, right? You just shorten your rotation a little bit. You experiment less. You kind of go with what you think is going to work, and if it does, you don't change from it just to maybe see something else. But yeah, I think you can't say enough about the work that Aaron Gordon's done in the postseason. I mean, you guys don't guard each other every single possession in the NBA, obviously, but he was the primary on Karl Anthony Towns in the first round, and then he had Kevin Durant in the second round, and then he had LeBron in the finals. And, each of those guys had impactful outings, but, except for Durant for, a game and a half or so in Phoenix, none of them really were able to make a mark in the series in terms of taking over and winning games. And so that's been impressive. The Nuggets have a bunch of wings that they can throw at guys, right? I mean, Aaron Gordon is rugged and can handle bigger players like LeBron, taller, longer players like Kevin Durant. But then you can use Kentavious Caldwell-Pope for a few possessions, and you can use Bruce Brown for a few possessions. And Bruce Brown's a guy who is playing backup point guard for this team to Jamal Murray, basically, and playing 20 to 25 minutes a night. And he was the sort of mini five, short roller in the pick and roll game with Durant in Brooklyn. So when you say a guy can sort of handle 1 through 4 or 1 through 5, Bruce Brown is a guy like that. So they've switched a lot. Aaron Gordon's played really well. And they've gotten a big lift from Michael Porter Jr., who's a dynamic guy. He's 6'10". He's a really good athlete, known as a shooter. But he's sort of buckled down on the defensive end in the playoffs too. And that's what you're looking for this time of year, is everybody to do sort of, one more thing than they did in the regular season.
It should be a lot of fun. I appreciate it. I know you're busy back out at Dove Valley today, so thank you very much.
Oh, you bet, guys. Great talking.
That's Parker Gabriel from the Denver Post. I almost said the Lincoln Journal-Star. A lot of people are hitting up Parker because they're like, you know what? I know you're going to be in town for that Nebraska-Colorado weekend because the Raiders play the Broncos that weekend. So a couple of things that were brought up there. You mentioned to him Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon's going to guard Jimmy Butler, so that size worries me a little bit. I still like Butler tonight. His rebounds and points is 34.5. I like him to go over. What worries me is, one, Miami will employ that 2-3 zone defense. And that was their best. That's been the best defense when they've had that in the entire postseason. I mean, they're giving up less than a point per possession when they go to the 2-3 zone. And you saw what Boston couldn't do shooting the 3-ball. But I worry about Jokic in the middle because of his passing ability. I think they'll put ball pressure on him, but he can pass the ball so well. For the Heat, they've got to defensively, if Murray and Jokic are having a bad night and all of a sudden Michael Porter shows up, what do you do? Because because a guy that shoots like that with his size, that's a problem. I think Miami's got to shoot the 3-ball well. They got to be able to find a way because they're going to be very physical on offense. I don't know that Denver's played a team in the postseason that'll be as physical offensively as Miami is, but they got to find a way to get to the rim. They got to find a way to get to the rim, and they also got to find a way to get Bam engaged for 4 quarters offensively.
Yeah,
it's the Nuggets' title to lose. I like I like the Nuggets in 6.
I'm taking the Nuggets in 5, but I do think just like kind of what we saw with Denver in LA, and when you kind of saw the way that Denver got through it, but you're like, okay, does that feel like a sweep knowing that, those games were competitive? I think Miami makes most of these games competitive, even if they're on the losing end of it, because I do think that they present a defensive challenge that is going to be a little bit unique, but the ways that you can see the Nuggets able to offset, like he brought up Caldwell Pope, and there's another guy that, you think about what he can do offensively when you need a little bit of that sort of outlet there, when maybe it's not falling early for Jokic, when, Murray's getting a little bit of attention too. So there's just a lot of things that I think would concern you as far as what you have to account for if you're Miami. And, this is an offense for Miami too, that obviously they shoot the 3 well, but if they're not, and we saw what happened with Boston for a team who also shot the 3 well, and then they go cold. It's just, there's just a lot more to account for that I think with this Denver team. And I think everybody's kind of in this boat when it comes to matching up with Denver. Like, okay, can you take a game from them? Sure. Are you able to outlast them in a series given what they do? And especially the level of defense that they are playing now too. It's a lot to handle. It's a lot to deal with for the very best in the NBA right now. So yeah, I like Denver to make this a bit short, but I think there'll be competitive games.
I think we talked about it all week because people are going to knock the ratings. Oh, nobody's going to watch. The ratings are going to be bad. It's good for the league because
it's great for the league.
And then the league does it to themselves. They promote markets over teams, and it's more of an individual sport. But if you think about what the storyline should be for this series, it should be all about the game. Yeah, both teams have a star.
Mm-hmm.
One is probably a little bit more of a superstar than the other in Jokic to Butler, but the focus should be on the game. I know we like to do markets over teams, but if you're looking at what makes basketball good, these two teams are perfect. They're unselfish. They play hard. The way they constructed their roster, they're well coached. Yeah, this matchup is good for the league, but I know why people are against it because it's an odd pairing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's the Nuggets and the Heat are playing for the NBA championship. It's like UConn and San Diego State playing in the final.
Yeah, you got this low seed. What the heck?
That's our national championship game. Denver and Miami do share. It's kind of an interesting, like, sportsdom that they share. They were both in the same year. They were both expansion baseball franchises. Remember, they met in the NHL Stanley Cup Finals.
Yep.
Ray Bourque, Sakic, Forsberg, when the Avalanche beat the Panthers.
Yep.
They both have NFL teams where that is the pride of their city. Were beaten in a Super Bowl by Montana. I mean, it's a weird thing that Denver and Miami share. But I know it's a weird pairing. So we're not like, oh, hey, it's good. It's good for basketball.
Yeah, if you love basketball, if you love pro basketball, you're all about this final.
Yeah.
All right. Coming up, Steve Sipple will join us. We try to get Sip and PG together, but Sip refused to go on with PG.
He's going to do a joint, like 40-minute combo with the two.
I think they should do a podcast before that Nebraska-Colorado game.
Yeah, like Sam does, like the showdown. They should do like their own, like, kind of retro throwback little. Parker wouldn't mind digging in for at least a day or two of Nebraska-Colorado football.
God, if I went to the Denver Raiders game, who would I root for? I don't think I could go to. Could I go to an NFL game and just sit there and have no emotion?
Wear the Rob Lowe hat?
Like, I want both teams to lose.
Team AFC West.
I hope both teams have fun. Sports
How would a Kansas City Chief fan be treated in Mile High Stadium, not rooting for either team?
Would people just be confused?
Yes,
They'd be like,
would.
they'd be like,
They're like,
what are you doing here?
Kansas City's not here for a couple of months.
I'm scouting.
Are you scouting out the territory here? I see, for me, and not being a Chiefs fan, maybe this is easier for me to say. I feel like the more likable team is Vegas.
I'm trying to think, what would Mitch Holtis
team.
say? I don't, being that he coined it Raider Hater Week when he started, I don't know if you could ever root for the Raiders.
Yeah, that's why I think it'd be, that, as a Chiefs fan, you could never feel like the Raiders are more likable. But Sean Payton makes me a little bit more willing to embrace the Broncos. But yeah, more likable team is the Raiders. So this coming from a Bears fan who has no affiliation in that division whatsoever, I'd be rooting for the Raiders.
Well, I'd probably just sit there.
Yeah.
You're like, I have no emotion, but I want to go to an NFL game.
Well, I know you don't
flight,
root for injuries.
My flight doesn't leave from DIA until 8.
Go football.
I know you don't root for injuries, but if both quarterbacks got like turf toe?
No, I'm not injuries. I want you guys to be healthy because I don't want any excuses when you don't beat the Chiefs.
That's true. Hey,
no
good on you.
sinkholes.
Good on you. Yeah. Appreciate that.
Maybe I would be there rooting for my fantasy guys.
There you go. There you go.
There's always a rooting interest, and I'm pretty sure
Is betting legal in Colorado?
I'm pretty sure they take wagers.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yes, it is.
So
who are you rooting for? Me.
So you can do that.
Josh Jacobs, yes, run.
Yep.
And the next series is Judy, great catch.
right. See, yeah, you could still have plenty of fun and emotion.
But that is that weekend. That's you're gonna have plenty of time to make it from Boulder to Mile High with a 10 a.m. kick on.
Because that would be
Saturday
not
morning.
only the home opener, the season opener. Okay.
Yeah.
Tickets will be up there.
It's a 225 mountain kick. It's a CBS national game.
Damn, if you're paying tickets for Nebraska, Colorado, then you're going to go to the Denver game. Ooh.
A quick look on Ticketmaster.com. Tickets for less would be better where they don't have any fees. The tickets aren't bad.
No.
So the upper level, the 500 level, especially in the end zone that is the closed end zone. Like if you're on 25 going towards downtown, you look into that end zone.
Pretty much where I've sat.
155. That's
Really?
not bad. That's not bad
No,
for
it's
an
not
NFL
bad.
game.
You know what? Jump on that now because we did the home opener for the Broncos-Bears game in 2019. Yeah, 2019. That was 225. So I would jump on that now. And we were in I was like parallel with like the light bank. I could have changed a bulb if I needed to.
Now you drop down to the club level, and that's going to be $500.
Yeah. No, if you're paying less than $200, even for the upper level of the upper bowl, jump on it.
Not bad. It's not a bad place to watch football.
No,
It's
they don't
actually-
need a
it's
new
It's a
stadium.
good stadium to watch football. All right, Sip's coming up in a little bit, but first here's an update with Jimmy.
Memphis hit 6 home runs to beat the Storm Chaser. That's a lot of home runs last night, 9-4 at Werner Park, and they sent all the puppies home sad. The Redbirds scored the first 5 runs on solo homers. Omaha falls to 22 and 29. Two teams do it again tonight at 7:05. Some good local stuff here. Nebraska softball's Billy Andrews was honored as an All-American by the National Fast Pitch Coaches Association. The Gretna native was named NFCA third-team All-American. She is only the third Nebraska native and fourth shortstop to earn All-America honors in program history. This marks the Huskers' first All-America shortstop since Ali Viola was named to the first team in 1998. It caps a great junior season for her. In addition to being recognized as an All-American, Andrews was a first-team All-Midwest Region honoree and first-team All-Big Ten selection. She'll enter her senior season next year, ranked 6th in program history in home runs and 9th in extra base hits. Eric Lewis in the NBA was not selected as one of the 12 referees who will work the NBA Finals, which begin tonight, while the league continues to look into whether he used a Twitter account to defend himself and other officials from online critiques. Very Kevin Durant of him.
Go the burner.
Lewis has been chosen to work in the finals in each of the last 4 seasons. After some now deleted tweets were revealed by a pair of Twitter users last week, the league opened an investigation into whether Lewis violated NBA rules by speaking about officiating in an unauthorized manner. It has not been determined if he was using the account which utilizes the name Blair Cutliff. The account was deactivated briefly last week, but was active
It's not like
again.
Ron Mexico, but
No. But it was active again last night. Some more college football news. The organization that runs the Holiday Bowl is suing the Pac-12 conference because they don't have enough bad news going on right now, and the University of California Regents because UCLA backed out of the 2021 games citing COVID-19 concerns. The San Diego Bowl Game Association is seeking a minimum of $3 million in compensatory damages in a lawsuit filed Wednesday in California Superior Court in San Diego County. UCLA announced less than 5 hours before it was supposed to kick off against North Carolina State December 28th, 2021, that it was pulling out of the game after 3 defensive linemen tested positive for COVID-19. The 10-page filing comes more than 17 months after negotiations between the bowl organization and the Pac-12 failed to come to a resolution. The filing by the bowl organization alleges a failure of defendants to accept responsibility and accountability for their conduct, which caused substantial damages to the plaintiff. And finally, San Diego Tourism. Sorry, you can't buy that. No, that's actually where I saw that story from my mind. Yeah. Watch the public. Yeah. Finally, LSU will wear air-conditioned helmets for all practices and games in 2023, created by a Louisiana-based company called Tiger Air. Helmets had a 5-hour lifespan before needing to be charged, and they last up to 4 years. Wave of the future.
What I could have done with the air-conditioned helmet.
Yeah. Oh, Tigers.
I thought it was so cool when we had the helmet technology when I was in high school in the late 90s when we could pump the shoe. You could pump up the helmet and inflate your inner core, your inner padding. Now, my gosh, what will they think of next?
An advantage they can repeat linemen. I'm wearing an air conditioning helmet.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, if I'm recruiting against them, like, hey, you can go to LSU and wear that air conditioning helmet. But you know what? They make you wear this big battery pack on your back.
You already carrying a lot of weight, man. You don't want any.
All right, thanks for me. Coming up in a little bit, we'll stop by. We got lots of questions. Now that he's coming back to Nebraska for another year. That's coming up next on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. All right, football season is here. As you heard me mention, 13 weeks from today, Nebraska kicks off against Minnesota, and then the NFL season is right around the corner. We're less than 100 days on that side, so the wait is almost over. And you want to see your favorite team, whether it be the team that wears red that plays on Saturdays in Lincoln or the team that wears red that plays south of here in Kansas City, the Huskers, the Chiefs, and all of the above. Well, Tickets for Less has you taken care of. They never charge you for service fees on tickets. They offer fully transparent pricing, which you can save big money at checkout compared to the other sites. Trust me, I'm a client, I'm an endorser, and I use them. And it's true, you can do some comparison, but once you get to that checkout, never any per ticket fees. That is wild. Tickets for Less, you never have to worry about that. So you can save more on your next ticket order and use my promo code to save even more. The Zone. When you go to checkout at ticketsforless.com, use the promo code The Zone. Simply enter the code and save now at ticketsforless.com.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
They're not playing at Michigan State. No, they're playing in Detroit's Ford Field. Because, the soft-ass East can't play outdoors in the month of November because their tolerances.
Dude, this is legit pathetic. This is November. So for them to give up a home game in November, are you serious with this? We're not talking about January here, man. We're talking about November football.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides. From the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Can't rule out a stray shower or storm Thursday morning. Then little better chances to see scattered thunder showers in the afternoon and early evening. Otherwise, expect partly to mostly cloudy skies with highs in the mid to upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Backland Plumbing Time-Saving Traffic Center. We're still getting reports of that fuel spill accident near 42nd and Ames, so please be cautious if you're in that area. Then we're also getting reports of an accident westbound along I-80 at the northbound JFK, and another accident northbound along the JFK at Gregg Road that's going to be backed up all the way to Highway 370. Then over on 52nd and Blondo, there is a blockage due to a fallen tree. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic Traffic was brought to you by Romeo's Mexican Food and Pizza.
Not your typical restaurant. Not your typical place. Romeo's. Not your typical restaurant. For your not your typical taste. Romeo's. Romeo's Mexican Food and Pizza. Not your typical restaurant.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Can I take your order?
Can I get a small chicken sandwich meal?
Sorry, we only sell jumbo meals. Same size for everyone.
Sometimes one size fits all isn't right for you. Same goes for your mobile plan. At Cox Mobile, get what you actually need and start saving with the right data plan. If your needs change, switch between plans at any time. Now that's something different.
Thanks. I think I'll go get something different.
Cox Mobile. We're different because you're different. Visit cox.com/mobile to learn more. Postpaid Cox internet required. Other restrictions apply.
Come visit Omaha's own little corner of France, Les Voltaire, for mouth-watering appetizers and entrees, plus melt-in-your-mouth desserts and an extensive brunch menu on Sundays from 10 to 2. Dinner or brunch with friends, for a special occasion, entertaining clients, or just chilling with French wines with your favorite someone, Les Voltaire will make you feel right at home. Reserve their private party room today for birthdays, rehearsal dinners, and retirement parties. Les Voltaire, just off 156th and West Dodge Road in Pepperwood Village, and at lesvoltaireomaha.com.
Celebrate the college baseball championship with Templeton Rye. Whiskey for the strong-spirited with an all-star lineup of 4-year, 6-year, and 10-year reserve. Templeton Rye is crafted with a strong community spirit, the perfect way to celebrate your favorite team. Templeton Rye, whiskey for the strong-spirited. Available near you.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blurred Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for our 11th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an inclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let us handle all the details steps away on the south side of Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination. Blur Events takes care of all the work so you can enjoy the day.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, time for our next guest, who is got a graduation party going on in Lincoln. Invite these people. We'll show up. Well, it's just wouldn't that be cool to say that Steve Sipple came to your graduation party? I know you had
bring a gift.
I know you had one last weekend. Good morning, Sip.
We got to talk. I'm a little worried about Stone's situation. I got about 8%. We got to roll.
Let's get right to it.
Are you in your car?
I am, but I'm
Do you not have a charger?
pull off
Do you not have a
right
Do you not have a charger in your car?
No, I mean, it's scrambling this morning. No, I should.
What's
Parker Gabriel?
Yeah.
Remember Parker?
We just talked to him.
We just talked to him. Yeah.
It's very low tolerance for when I would show up like somewhere at 8:30 and my phone wasn't charged. Like, don't you charge it all night? Aren't you ready for the day? Don't you need to be ready for the day? Yeah, I do.
He was.
Sometimes
He was
come up short.
He was, even though he was not technically. He's like you. He was like your big brother. He was always looking out for you.
He's gone mad.
Hey,
I thought you were going to say he was my boss.
No. We miss him dearly. We miss you in the paper. But happy birthday, by the way. I'm pretty sure that July 1 or June 1 is the 1-year anniversary of On 3.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Did you not know that?
Yeah.
You guys didn't celebrate like Gas Can didn't take you to Misty's or anything like that?
Now that you mention it, no. But I'll be sure to call Sean after our call when I get my phone charged.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're going to make this quick. So I'll talk really, really fast. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Before we talk about Tominaga, so Nebraska baseball ends, and it's another year of no postseason for the three main men's sports: football, men's basketball, baseball. Even though there's a tint of optimism into 24 with football and men's basketball, and then whatever becomes of baseball. But what do you think? Because you talk to them, you hear from them. What do you think the last couple of years and all this losing has done to the Nebraska fan base?
Oh, I mean, I think it's complicated. I think humans are complicated, and I think the reaction. I don't want to. Here's what you don't want to do. If I don't think you want to paint that. I don't want to paint it with a broad brush, because not everybody reacts to these things the same. I mean, I can kind of speak for myself, and it's interesting you asked, and this is what my mind is going to. I did sit down with Ted Carter, the university system president, yesterday, and this topic came up that the big men's sports need to start producing, and we're talking about men's basketball, baseball, and football. Now, I want to emphasize that Ted Carter is very optimistic, and he did remind me that Will Bolt won the Big Ten 2 years ago. Will Bolt set a pretty high bar for himself with that season, where it was all league games. Remember, it was all league games, or pretty much all league games, and they won the Big Ten, and it was impressive. And what they did against Arkansas was impressive. And then he just followed it up with a clunker of a year. And Will said, "Look, we took a step forward this year." And they did, but that wasn't hard to do. So I guess I'll just say how I feel about it. And I would say I'm concerned. I mean, I think it's concerning because there's an acceptance that I sometimes pick up on. There's an acceptance, and that's scary. It's hard to sort of put into words, and it's hard to quantify. But I noticed it in football with the talent discussion, that's where I noticed it the most. Where it's not alarming to people that Nebraska no longer produces All-Americans. It just doesn't. There's just no All-Americans in football. That's what it takes. And now we're in sort of this. I think it's a little bit scary period right now, where Nebraska's having trouble getting those players that you would perceive as program changers. It's hard to get them here. The losing's been substantial enough that it's concerning. So, and then the other thing I'd add, what Ted said, is Nebraska's positioned well nationally. We all know what's going on around the country. There's haves and have-nots. It's starting to become more easy to make the distinction between haves and have-nots. Nebraska is on the right side of that conversation, or half. But the thing that would, and this is what Ted Carter said, it was interesting. I asked him, why would Nebraska ever feel threatened? And he said, well, probably the only thing would be sustained losing, and then the fan base loses interest, or there's a clear loss of interest. It wouldn't be complete, but there'd be enough that then you'd worry. So I don't think anybody's being alarmist here, but eventually the tide's got to turn.
And with that, Sip, just your opinion, your gut reaction on it. Out of the three, who do you think is on the better path? Who do you think seems to have maybe the quicker solution or the quicker fix, and can then sustain?
I wish I had a clear answer. I felt really good about the Will Bolt hire. I felt really good about it. In fact, I pushed for it, and I still feel good about it. But his team doesn't look like what I envisioned. Yeah, it doesn't play like I envisioned. It doesn't have the hard edge that I thought would accompany a Will Bolt team. I thought it would be much like Dave Van Horn, right? And it just doesn't. And I'm probably not close enough to it to try to identify why. I really have a lot of confidence in Rule. I do. I mean, it's just a tougher. He's just going to be in a really tough situation with those divisions going away. Fred. I think Fred's going to have a pretty good team. Fred did a good job of setting the bar incredibly low. I mean, like
you're absolutely you're right. You're right.
He set the bar to a point where if they go 500, people are saying, see, they're going to be good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're better than they were, but they were preposterously bad for 2 years. So I don't know. I didn't really give you an answer. I guess I would say Rule.
Yeah.
Because of the way he's going about it, which is we're gonna be a tough running team. We're gonna do the little things that enable us to win the close games. Now it's easy to say that stuff. And we're gonna win games in the fourth quarter. That's the formula. And Trev knew what he was getting, and I like the plan. So I'd say out of those three, I'm most confident in Rule.
Well, I will say one thing about Rule. Rule has, in a short amount of time, and we've talked about this, he has left no stone unturned. The amount of people that he has picked their brain on why it hasn't worked here at Nebraska and taken mental notes and physical notes is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Because most people walk in and go, I got a plan, I got a blueprint, I've done it before, this is what I can do. That he has gone out of his way to learn more about why it has not worked here. So let's go back to basketball. What's the initial impact that is non-on the floor related when Keisei Tominaga says he's coming back?
Excitement. It's exciting. Keisei is an exciting player, and he invigorates the crowd and invigorates the whole program, I would guess. I'm not around to practice, but he's invigorating. His body language, his clear love for the game. And then, he's a legit scorer. He averaged, he shot 51%. That's the stat that always jumps out at me with K-State. He shot 51% from the field. And why is that? Why it's impressive? Because he's not that big. He has to work pretty hard to get shots, and he's often shooting from long range. Not as much as he used to. One of the things that Fred Hoiberg has done a good job of, and Casey's done a good job of, is learning how to move without the ball. And now Casey is good in the mid-range, and he's good getting to the hoop. I mean, he just developed his game. But I'd say the main thing is just excitement. And they're going to be a bear. They're going to be a bear to defend. Now, they got to defend, too.
Mm-hmm.
They have to play defense. But they're going to be hard to defend with that roster put together. And I'm thinking about the kid from Charlotte coming in, and I'm thinking of DeMarcus Lawrence, and I'm thinking about the kid from Bradley coming in. They have shooters that we can't. It's going to be hard. I think Fred took a lot of pressure off K-State in the offseason, the way he put the roster together. It's Case. You can't. I mean, the defense is going to have a hard time focusing a lot of energy on K-State because there's other shooters out there. So it's going to be real. I think Nebraska's going to be very hard to defend.
Sip, any major reactions from the schedule yesterday and the overall dates, exposure for Nebraska, especially early on with Matt Rule? Any major takeaways there?
Well, yeah, I'm not major because everybody's talking. Nebraska caught a break against Colorado playing. Colorado's got to play at 10 a.m. No, I don't think any player would tell you they like doing that. There might be some early risers that would say it, but not many. So they caught a break there. The most interesting part of this discussion to me, and I don't know. Now, listen, you're talking to a 56-year-old, and I've talked to other guys my age, and they're sort of, I don't want to say aghast, but what's the Big Ten doing putting some games stream only on Peacock? I mean, if you're a Michigan
State, Washington,
they're going to play East Carolina on Peacock.
Yep.
And that's not, you got to stream it. That's not on TV. I don't think the coaches would like that. Delaware is going to play Penn State on Peacock. And it's not on TV. Not conventional TV. That's a part of the overall game plan with this, with the new television deal that the Big Ten has. I can't believe that fans are that fired up about it.
Well, Washington's a top 15 team. You don't think that you, me, everybody else wants over the air watch Washington, Michigan State? I'm with you, Sip. Where streaming is the future. I get it. There's revenue to be had there. We stream our television shows, but there's just something about our college football and our NFL and streaming and not being able to watch it. And especially that game with a top 15 team, that the only way I'm getting it is I got to sign up for Peacock. I don't think that's good for the sport.
No, I don't think it is either. I don't think it's good from a fan standpoint. I bet the coaches don't like it. I mean, you're shutting out of. I know younger people are going to listen to the old man. Now, there's a lot of people that are just to say, I'm not going to bother with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't understand why they're doing that, but I think it's going to happen more and more.
Hey, speaking of, just a little side note on that Colorado game, there's a story to be told about how that game came together because Fox had to ask for permission from Colorado. For Colorado to play at 10 a.m. local, if Deion would have said, no, we are not playing that early, then that game is up in the air on when the kickoff is going to be. But Colorado immediately agreed to play that game at 10 a.m. local time.
Huh. Well, I guess I'm pleased that they did, but what other time would it be? Would this be a mid-afternoon kickoff somewhere?
Probably, but I think it actually works out because the marquee game of the day is Texas-Alabama. Now, week 2 schedule is much greater than week number 1. I don't have a problem with it. It's just schools that like Nebraska and Colorado that have this opportunity to grab exposure, man, I would every day that ends in Y, I would sign up for it. That's why I like Nebraska's schedule, because the first 2 weeks, they're going to have a big stage that they haven't gotten on a regular basis. They got a Thursday night kind of standalone game. Utah, Florida's competition, but it's Thursday night. It's Fox. You get Gus and Joel, and then you get the build into this game. That'll be 95% Colorado, but you get then people are going to watch because they're intrigued. And they're going to be like, oh, yeah, Nebraska's got a new coach as well. Hey, let me get you out there on this because I want to go back to something you mentioned about recruiting because I've heard you talk about Brandon Baker all week. He's the 5-star from Southern California, offensive lineman that Nebraska had interest in. And I think that the interest was a two-way street. But as he gets on the tour of the country, people are like, this guy is a dude. I have seen crystal balls now for Oregon. What does it take to get a guy like that, who is what you labeled as a program changer? When do you start getting those guys? That it's realistic, Sip, that guy isn't just, hey, Nebraska, I love what they're doing. They're recruiting me, but I'm going to go to Oregon. What makes that guy say, nope, Nebraska's the place for me?
Well, the easy answer is winning. It's just then you got to get into how much win. I mean, what is it going to take? Multiple years or just one season of 8 wins, or is it 7? What's the threshold? There's just got to be something other than, we think we're going to turn it around here. I think there's got to be discernible progress. It's easy to see. So that I think it's that. It is. I did sit down with Baker twice. He interviewed on our show with Sean Callahan and I know that there was genuine interest. I know because he would ask Sean a lot of questions. He would ask Sean questions off the air about Nebraska and just questions that you wouldn't ask if you weren't interested. I think there is genuine interest. He is saying, I guess he said yesterday that he is interested in Nebraska. He didn't put them down as a finalist or put them down somewhere he's going to make an official visit because he's visited here twice. And I just think he feels he doesn't need to visit again. He's seen a lot of it. Yeah. He's been here twice. He's soaked it in. Do I think they're going to get him? No, I don't know. I never really thought Nebraska had a great chance. 50-50 at the most, I guess. I heard him. I know that there was genuine interest, but listen, he would be taking a big chance at this point, right?
Yeah.
That's just the reality. He would be taking a big chance because he doesn't have to take. He just doesn't have to. He can go virtually anywhere he wants. So that's what you're dealing with.
Yeah. Sip, we appreciate it. Happy birthday to the On 3 guys. We'll expect a party.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, guys.
Have a great weekend. That is Stephen M. Sipple.
What do you think? 2%? 3% left?
Shout out to his battery.
3% left in the battery?
I thought we could get
Should we maybe text him?
Is he like of the 2%ers that don't have a cord in their car?
Maybe. Don't you? I mean,
So if we're getting SIP a Christmas gift,
would you say it's greater than 90% of Americans, or hell, people in the world that charge their phone overnight?
Yeah.
How do you get down to 8%?
So do you think also the people that ride their gas tank all the way down are also the Sipples of the world that ride the battery all the way down?
Yes.
Because there is a...
and then they act shocked when they run out of gas.
But isn't there like, there's something to be said, I know this has been said, if you're having some poor performance with your phone, to let the battery actually wear all the way down, and then you charge it. I've never done that. I don't like doing that. It's like when my tank is that empty, I'm like, I can't risk it.
I get panicked if I don't have a full charge when I wake up in the morning.
Same.
Yep.
Don't like it.
It's happened before too. I'm like, I thought I charged it.
You know, these new iPhones there, Nick, they hold the charge pretty well.
Do they?
Yeah.
You know what? So does the Droid. So does the Galaxy.
I'm at 97%. Haven't charged it since I left the house
Well, that's pretty
3
impressive.
hours ago.
Now, see, my Galaxy, this is an S10, so it's a little bit older. It's at 77%.
That's not good. You need to charge it.
I don't need to charge it yet.
I used to know
it's better than 8%.
I used to know somebody. I mean, I guess I still know this person when it came to gas, because we all try and tempt fate.
Sure.
That once they get to halfway, they got to stop at a gas station.
No.
Well,
that's not living. You're not living. So
I'd say quarter.
I would say most of us now have the cars that it tells you how many miles till E. So my wife's car, it's a 2017. I was driving it one day and it was like at 15, and I had not gone 15 miles. I don't even think I went a mile. All of a sudden it just went blank. And then I'm like, what? So then I was like, okay, I need to find a gas station, because it went ghost on me. Like, what the hell's going to happen? Because I don't want to be that guy that has to pull over and then you go out.
Man, that poor bastard ran out of gas. Look at him with a tank.
I did that one time in college. That was just because I didn't have a lot of money. Gas was one of those things that you got when you absolutely needed it.
Our new drivers are missing out on the time when you not only run out of gas, but you also would lock your keys in the car.
Yeah.
Those were the
It's
days.
virtually impossible.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Coming up in the next hour, CJ Moore will stop by. A flurry of activity yesterday with the NBA draft deadline, beneficial to Creighton, especially Kalkbrenner and Alexander, and also Nebraska. So we'll get CJ's thoughts when he joins us at 9:20. And then Brian Edwards as well with his thoughts on the line for tonight's game between the Heat and the Nuggets. It's bounced back from 8.5 to 9. And we got some numbers, because some people think that's disrespectful to the Heat. But if you look at game ones of the NBA Finals and the favored team and the home team, maybe it's not. That's all coming up before we turn it off on a June 1 edition. Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Speaking of June 1 may be marking the first day for you officially for summer. Well, you can take on those summer adventures with the 2023 Mazda CX-50. And the reason this CUV stands out, it's got the tough-looking exterior to the ultra-comfortable interior. It combines iActive all-wheel drive and an available turbo engine is going to allow you to take on any terrain. The available panoramic moonroof also allowing nature to collide with the comfort of your vehicle. Kind of a cool feature, too. The interior of the CX-50 is actually inspired by the outdoors with the stitching that reflects the patterns of hiking boot laces. How's that for creativity? The rear doors of the 2023 Mazda CX-50 open nearly at 90 degrees to make climbing in and out of the vehicle and loading your gear as simple as can be. It's a fun drive that you got to check out. Check it out for yourself. Shop the 2023 Mazda CX-50 at Woodhouse Mazda in Bellevue or Woodhouse Place Mazda off 144th and Giles Road, where you will always enjoy a very friendly and knowledgeable sales staff. You can also shop, finance, and buy online at WoodhouseMazda.com or WoodhousePlaceMazda.com with a very streamlined process that will save you time, allow you to do your shopping, your browsing, even getting your deals started in the comfort of your own home. So chat with a sales team member online and easily schedule a test drive, check vehicle availability, and more. Woodhouse Mazda, a drive worth experiencing.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. The best way to catch all the action is on 1620 The Zone. And no line for the bathroom.
Harrah's Council Bluffs presents Alter Bridge with Seven Dust, Thursday, August 31st at Stir Cove. Get tickets and check out the full entertainment lineup at stircove.com. Stir Cove is an all-ages venue.
I'm Giselle. I received a kidney transplant.
My name is Scott, and my mother-in-law has kidney disease.
I'm Miles. My grandma's on dialysis.
I'm Barb. My husband has IgA nephropathy.
I'm Buffy. My mom is a living kidney donor.
I'm Lisa Sinsel, Executive Director for the Nebraska Kidney Association. I'd like to invite you to join us at the Sheriff's Fair Color Run on June 4th at Peak Performance at 78th and Cass. For more information, go to www.kidneyne.org.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. Let us talk about the 3 most surprising things about modern LASIK at Kugler Vision. The first, how fast that LASIK procedure is. With Kugler Vision's leading edge technology, we're talking just a few minutes per eye. Incredibly speedy. And how about this for number 2? How comfortable the procedure is. So often from their patients, they hear, wait, that's it? It's over? They make sure that you're relaxed and comfortable, as well as knowing exactly what is happening. And this for number 3, how quickly you can get back to normal life. Patients typically drive themselves to Kugler Vision the very next day for their follow-up visit. So you're back in action less than 24 hours later. Kugler Vision right now, they have special pre-summer savings on modern LASIK or any of their other advanced vision correction procedures. If you've ever thought about fixing your bad vision, the Kugler Vision Eye Analysis is your first step. Do so today. Schedule one online at kuglervision.com.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
Babbel's interactive lessons are created by real language teachers and voiced by real native speakers using a modern conversation-based method. So in no time, you can start speaking confidently about real-life topics in another language.
Nosotras vamos a México en 2 días y ahora hablamos español. Gracias, Babbel. Sí, muchas gracias.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
PACE, Police Athletics for Community Engagement Organization, is dedicated to preventing at-risk and disadvantaged inner-city children from becoming involved in street gangs, crime, drug use, and victimization. PACE provides an opportunity to develop discipline, self-esteem, and positive moral values through wholesome competition and free participation in soccer, baseball, CrossFit, and flag football. To help PACE and local families make sure kids have access to safe and fun spring and summer activities, please go to paceomaha.org to support the PACE mission. Thank you.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
This week's Zone Deals, Early Bird. Bird offers a variety of fun pancakes, eggs, Benedict's, omelets, and beverages, including a full breakfast cocktail menu. Dine-in or carry-out is available. Get to Early Bird Brunch today in the Blackstone District, Shadow Lake Town Center, and now open in Regency. With this week's deal, you'll receive 2 $25 vouchers, a $50 value for just $25. Get all the details now at 1620thezone.com.
CJ Moore, Brian Edwards in the last hour as kick times come about, networks. The Wisconsin-Nebraska game is on a flex day on November 18th. That could be an NBC Peacock primetime game. And then also, Nebraska-Michigan's, I think more than likely will be, well, they only got 2 options. The big noon kickoff, or it'll be a primetime game. Because the only other
you called primetime from the beginning.
The only other, well, if you go back to the last time Michigan was in Lincoln, when that was supposed to be the game that Nebraska was back, I mean, Lincoln was, I haven't felt that in Lincoln pregame in a long, long time before Nebraska-Michigan, and you know how that game ended up. But the only other game of note on that day in the Big Ten is Michigan State-Iowa. So Nebraska-Michigan is the game of the day on September 30th. But I think Nebraska-Wisconsin that'll get your NBC Peacock.
You were saying a sip too, but the Michigan State-Washington game for that being streaming only, like, come on. Like, really?
I know it's a trend. I know it's the future.
I'm with you, but
we have to, if we want to grow sports, you have to make it easier on people to find your game.
Yes.
And the fact that that's a really, really good game,
right?
Washington with Michael Penix and Coach DeBoer, they're a top 15 team. you can only stream that game.
Right.
Moving on. What else is on
like that.
TV? What other game?
It's kind of like, remember we were talking about during the college basketball season, the way it worked out is you had Kansas and Iowa State that were both top 10 teams at the time. In fact, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it was almost a top 5 matchup, and that was an ESPN Plus only. It was like, wow. Talk about missing the boat on that one as opposed to having that as a big Monday matchup. So I know it's happened before in sports, but man, with college football and starting to do a little bit more streaming, I understand you want to kind of dip your toe into it, but a matchup like that, especially notable programs like that, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
They don't, okay. It's about ratings in eyeballs on TV than butts and seats.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's a business model. You want to drive up subscriptions. You think we're complaining a little bit about that, but I think we have every right to.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the Big 12.
Right.
Look at the Big 12 schedule. There are a lot of games on ESPN Plus.
Yep.
Like a significant amount in the first 3 weeks of the season. It's kind of tough to find some good Big 12 football in the first 3 weeks. They put them a lot on ESPN Plus. They want to drive up the subscriptions, but you're making it harder and harder on fans to find your game.
Yep.
And I don't think that's good for the sport of college football.
I totally agree.
All right, CJ Moore, we'll talk college basketball coming up in about 15 minutes. We'll make you some money with Brian Edwards coming up as well before we're done on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. All right, Gary Sharp here for Templeton Rye. Why'd I introduce myself? You know, I've been here all morning.
Hi, Gary.
But let me tell you, you know what has also been here for a while? Templeton Rye. It is whiskey for the strong-spirited. And as the college baseball championship returns to Omaha 2 weeks from tomorrow, there is a lot of excitement. And Templeton Rye is the best way to celebrate with it. Fans are going to come from all around. They're going to be here to celebrate. You know what? You can celebrate this year in your tailgates with Templeton Rye, whiskey for the strong-spirited. They've got their 4-year, 6-year, and 10-year reserve. It is a home run all the way around. Now, if you want to learn more about Templeton Rye, it's very easy. You can go to their Instagram page, Templeton Distillery, or it's a short drive right outside of Omaha. Go visit the on-site distillery. Just a short drive. Tell them that Sharp and Handley sent you. Templeton, Iowa. Enjoy responsibly. Templeton Rye Spirits, Templeton, Iowa, Rye Whiskey.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Backland Plumbing Time-Saving Traffic Center. We're still getting reports of that fuel spill accident near 42nd and Ames, so please be cautious if you're in that area. Then we're also getting reports of an accident westbound along I-80 at the northbound JFK, and another accident northbound along the JFK at Gregg Road that's going to be backed up all the way to Highway 370. Then over on 52nd and Blondo, there is a blockage due to a fallen tree. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Reason 15 to celebrate 30 years of Fernando's.
Simply put, margaritas are pretty friggin' delicious.
Winner of first place in 2023's Best of Omaha's Best Mexican Restaurant. Come in and get your Fernando's fix.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
Attention homeowners. Are you ready to unleash the power of savings? J-Tech Construction and Solar, the official exterior experts of the Huskers, has an exclusive offer. Purchase any 2 trades from our winning lineup of services. Windows, doors, siding, roofs, gutters, and solar, and receive a 10% discount on your entire purchase. Click yourexteriorexperts.com to schedule your free consultation today. Double up on savings and save with J-Tech Construction and Solar, the official exterior experts of the Huskers. Click yourexteriorexperts.com.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis. The temperatures are rising, which means plenty of chances for you to get to the golf course just north of Dodge on 120th Street and play some golf, whether it is outside a full 18, inside the Top Tracer building, schedule a bachelor or a bachelorette party. You can do it all. Don't forget about work outings as well. You could put together a large scramble there at the golf course. They're located just north of Dodge on 120th Street, Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis.
How powerful is Cox Fiber? So powerful that one day, your daughter will be able to simulate a soccer match against some of the world's best players right from your backyard. Introducing Cox Fiber. With fiber-fast speeds, It's internet built for tomorrow, today. Limited availability in select areas. Speeds vary and are not guaranteed. Cox terms and other restrictions apply.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Live and see what's happening behind the scenes every weekday from 6A to 6P. No matter how you listen or watch, it's still AM radio, 1620 The Zone TV, now live at 1620thezone.com, powered by Tickets for Less.
Great tune.
Definitely one of those you turn up.
Speaking of Tom Petty learning to fly, another one that if I'm kind of thumbing through the music library, that'll make me do it. Stop. And you got to let that tune play. There's a lot of good Tom Petty songs. This is one of them.
Regret not seeing him in concert when I could have about 15 years ago.
Oh, at Farm Aid?
No, I think he was here.
Well, so I went and saw him at Mid-America Center.
Really?
Uh-huh. All he did was play. He didn't really interact with the crowd. It was great. He just for like 2 hours, just played hit after hit after hit. Makes you realize how good Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers were, but also what a great when he's strumming, man. He was one of the best. But they just he said hello. Other than that, they didn't.
No in between, like get up.
No, and I wanted to hear that his very distinctive voice.
Yeah,
man.
I'll give you that.
When he popped "Running Down a Dream" and it was like an 11-minute edition, like because he that was part of the Super Bowl performance as well. But yeah, he did an 11-minute rendition of "Running Down a Dream." I would say I was fully hooked in Iowa.
We were having
it would have been too.
We were having the Mid-America Center conversation. When was that? A few weeks back about talking about all the venues. I totally forgot one of the greatest bands that I've ever seen there was actually at the Mid-America Center. It wasn't a great show though, and I still blame the acoustics. I saw Pearl Jam there.
Not bad.
They were at the Mid-America Center. Yeah. Saw Pearl Jam there. The acoustics were kind of lousy, but it was still Pearl Jam.
Dang. That's you've got to experience like Pearl Jam is such a distinctive sound.
Yeah.
And with Eddie's voice, you have to have like good acoustics to get the full flavor of how awesome Pearl Jam is.
Yeah. So I feel like I was a bit robbed with that experience, but it was still Pearl Jam. It's still pretty cool. But yeah, it was at the Mid-America Center.
Look at us morphing into entertainment people.
Yeah,
we could have saved the Reader. You guys know that? The Reader is done in the fall after 55 years in this town. It used to be a weekly, entertainment magazine. You'd pick up at the grocery store or anywhere else. And now you just find it maybe at the library. It's bi-monthly. So one side is the Spanish version. The other is the English version.
Especially this time of the year too, it was very informative.
So I'm bummed. 55 years. The Reader is calling it quits in September.
We should have dedicated this segment every day to all the great concert venues and musical acts that have made their way through. Good stories, bad stories about them. We could have done that.
I mean, we'll have listeners chime in every now and then on Twitter and the stream. And
all you got to do is just go down the old Ranch Bowl rabbit hole. You get a lot of people sharing stories because everybody has a lot of stories about the Ranch Bowl.
What's that got to do with saving the Reader?
Entertainment, baby. Entertainment.
If you don't think that Tominaga was a big deal returning to Nebraska, again, he's the most recognizable male athlete on that campus. More than Jeff
Can't
Sims.
argue that. I cannot argue that, and that's kind of crazy.
Like, sir, like honestly, and I know it's football and they wear a helmet, so it's not as easy. Could Jeff Sims walk across Nebraska's campus during like the fall or the spring semester? Not now because there's many kids on campus taking summer school, and not be stopped. Like
I think he could.
like Tominaga. So I've seen Tominaga in public, whether it be when Sam Griesel was having his camp and Tominaga was there just to support him, and the line was enormous for Tominaga to sign autographs. Like when Tominaga was at the spring game, he took as many selfies as Matt Rule takes.
Take one together.
Like Tominaga is everywhere, and he's the most popular male athlete on campus. I'll tell you, they will build a statue if Tominaga gets Nebraska to the or is part of next year, and Nebraska's in the NCAA tournament and wins a game. They'd say, hey, they'll build Fred a statue. No. They're gonna build a statue of Tominaga. So I say this, get ready, because they're gonna give you some Tominaga energy between now and the start of the season in November. I just saw Nebraska basketball tweeted out 15 minutes ago. They say morning, and it's Tominaga, pumping up the crowd against I think this is Michigan. It's either Michigan or Purdue. I think it's Michigan.
We got media availability tomorrow.
Yeah, him and Fred are going to sit down. Hey, he put all of his faith in Fred. Fred got him to Indianapolis to work out, and the Pacers were honest with Casey, and then Casey was honest with Fred, and they're going to work together. And it's good. What more than likely will be his final year in Lincoln.
Is that a problem? Look, we know how good Casey, as far as the second half of the season and what he meant and what his return means. But is that more reflective to football? Because I think you're right about Jeff Sims.
Well, it's a turnover in the roster. Like Garrett Nelson was very recognizable.
True. Adrian, you knew Adrian.
Like Casey Thompson.
Even Casey, yes.
Casey Thompson was very recognizable.
Right. I'd agree. So I'm not trying to say I know there's always some low-hanging fruit when it comes to the lack of success for Nebraska football here recently. I don't want to say that that's indicative of what is just a really bad roster, but I think you're right. It's more of just the turnover, and then you also have to give a lot of credit to Casey and how that they are going to promote him, how they are going to promote the product.
Like local guys we recognize. We recognize Teddy. I think more people are more likely to recognize Nick Henrich than they are Luke Reimer.
I don't know. Luke's just got a distinct look. Recognizable.
Because of his nose?
I didn't say that.
Nick's always got like a little wispy mustache.
Yeah, he does. Like a little penciled in one.
Yeah, Tominaga, and then anybody that plays volleyball are probably the most recognizable athletes at Nebraska.
I agree. 100% agree. And you got to capitalize on that if you're basketball right now.
Yes.
And they will. Sounds like they already are.
I mean, capitalize means
win.
You got to go to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
They're going to be playing in the postseason.
Hand in hand.
All right. We'll get into this tomorrow. I like my question. I'm going to pat myself on the back. And we'll get into with our listeners a little bit deeper on what has the last run of lack of success. Well, that was a well-constructed sentence for Nebraska athletics done to the fandom. Because this is 2 straight years that Nebraska in their 3 main men's sports have not gone to the postseason. And I'm pretty sure you're going to be on a short list of colleges that play Division I that are with you. That football, men's basketball, and baseball did not make the postseason. That's 2 straight years for those 3 sports. We'll do that tomorrow. We'll talk to CJ Moore. He is coming up next on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, college baseball championships return to Omaha, and fans come from all around. You can celebrate this year with Templeton Rye Whiskey for the strong-spirited, and they've got their MVP lineup for you. That is a 4-year, 6-year, and even 10-year reserve. This whiskey is a home run all around. And you can learn more about Templeton Rye. You can check out Instagram, Templeton Distillery, or visit their on-site distillery, which is out there in Templeton, Iowa, just a short drive from Omaha. Also, if you're looking to get those cocktails ready, how about a Templeton Rye bringing you their favorites like the Templeton Old Fashioned, a Manhattan, a Templeton Sour, and the Iowa Mule. Again, go to TempletonDistillery.com and find more great recipes. And as always, we encourage you to visit the distillery, just a short drive outside of Omaha, open most days of the week, and you can learn the history of a local legacy and what goes into the distillery exclusive releases. Don't forget to check out Templeton Rye. Enjoy responsibly. Templeton Rye Spirits, Templeton, Iowa, Rye Whiskey.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
I feel the need to stand up for bunting. I feel as if it has been crusaded against. I feel as if there is a war on bunting, Josh. They hate bunting. They hate giving up outs. Nerds. It was started by that line in Moneyball where Billy Bean says, never bunt. You're giving up an out. And I'm here to tell you it's still good for something. So, once again, Connor Happer here for bunting.
The Connor Happer Show. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Can't rule out a stray shower or storm Thursday morning. Then a little better chances to see scattered thunder showers in the afternoon and early evening. Otherwise, expect partly to mostly cloudy skies with highs in the mid to upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
Duck Defense Midwest makes your home healthier and improves the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com for a special duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. That's cleanairradio.com.
It's spring. Now is the best time to shop at Lenaha for all things garden or landscape. Our garden center is filled with the largest selection of homegrown plants, flowers, trees, and more. The area's best mulch and soil available for delivery and pickup. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. Lenaha Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
What does Saul's loan on? Almost everything, like jewelry, gold chains, bracelets, earrings, wedding rings, and high-end watches, guns, electronics, $10 to $50,000, super fast and easy with no credit check. Saul's loans on almost everything.
Watching a ball game at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is pretty awesome. Oscar's offers the MLB package, so your team is always on their upgraded audio-video system, and nothing is better than watching the game with a cold frosty one, Oscar's Pizza, or award-winning char-buffed wings. And with daily lunch and dinner specials, it's really a no-brainer. So get ready to watch your favorite team play ball at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever's on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you ordered a new air filter for your car. You try to install it, but it doesn't fit. So you take a little bit off the sides. What, still doesn't fit? Well, you could try to sit on it. Or get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's going to fit. Air filters, brakes, headlights, over 122 million parts. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
Babbel's interactive lessons are created by real language teachers and voiced by real native speakers using a modern conversation-based method. So in no time, you can start speaking confidently about real-life topics in another language.
Nosotras vamos a México en 2 días y ahora hablamos español. Gracias, Babbel. Sí, muchas gracias.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Guys that are in the portal, Nebraska has made contact with a Dayton freshman who was in the portal. Averages 5 points a game last year, but was a 4-star going to Dayton. So it never ends. The chairs are still being moved around. But for the most part, we've stopped after yesterday as we welcome in the very talented writer for The Athletic, covers college basketball right there in the area in Kansas City. So we'll talk about KU. It is CJ Moore. CJ, good morning. Thanks for joining us on The Zone.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you cover a team, for the most part, in KU that gets the biggest get out of the portal. They also get McCullough to come back out of the NBA draft. But for the big picture, as you watched around the country yesterday, whether it be in Champaign, West Lafayette, Omaha, guys that were maybe second-round picks in mock drafts or even, struggled to get into the second round, they're coming back to college. What does that mean for the sport of college basketball that we had a day like yesterday where there's some significant names, including the player of the year, that comes back to college?
Yeah, I think, sometimes people bemoan NIL, but I think that's been one of the biggest positives is you're seeing guys that traditionally, like a Terrence Shannon. I mean, I think he would have gone, around 40 maybe in the NBA draft. And for him to come back, in 4 years ago, he's probably gone. But now that they can, guys can make some money and pretty significant money, you're seeing some of those guys come back. So I think that's a big positive for the sport. Now the negative is maybe all of the player movement and while it brings attention to the sport, I think it is at least frustrating for the coaches, but it is cool to see some guys like that come back.
Well, and what you said there too, with between NIL and knowing what you stand to still possibly make, as opposed to being maybe a late first or early second round guy and having maybe no essential guarantees. Is this the continuity that all of a sudden makes the product that much stronger? Where I mentioned earlier, like it was weird to have a day of the NBA deadline of whether keeping your name into the draft or not, where it seemed like there was so many big names that were removing their name from the NBA draft. And it was kind of a big day in college basketball to see how rosters were able to either stay intact or even get stronger. Is that something now with NIL that we can kind of expect on this day going forward?
Yeah, I think so. Every situation is unique to the player.
Sure.
And, that matters. But I do think that you'll see more guys coming back than you definitely have in the past, and that's positive.
Hey, so in one of those teams, so I should say it was a good day also in Boca Raton, and you've written about them. Help us figure out why FAU worked this past year and why it has a potential to work again, because people have stayed. They got two guards in Davis and Martin who were so key in getting to the Final Four. They withdrew from the draft. How is this working under Dusty May at FAU that they keep their team intact after a year like they had last year?
I think it's all about Dusty. He is a special dude. And, I was sitting there, I talked to him before and gotten to know him during the season. And I remember first day at the Final Four, and I'm sitting there with our writer, Brendan Quinn. We're sitting at Dusty's press conference. And he'd never heard Dusty talk. He didn't know a ton about Dusty. And 2 minutes in, he leans over to me and he says, "Man, Michigan State should hire this guy when Izalise." I probably, I think when Self leaves, he's a guy, KU should consider. And
that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah, he is a special human being, and his guy. I did a story recently on why they all came back, and how nobody went to the portal, and they had other coaches or the runners, whatever have you, reaching out to them in their DMs, trying to, offer them money to leave. And they stuck with FAU for, they're making NIL, but they're making less than they probably could at the high major level. And it's because of Dusty and the trust in him. And they all like playing together too. I mean, it's pretty fun going to a Final Four, right?
Yeah.
Like they want to experience that success again. And it was so impressive listening to them after they lost. It was one of the most impressive press conferences I've ever seen after a team lost. Just the messaging and the spinning it forward and like, hey, we're ready to get back to work. We want to get back here.
And I want to get back to Kansas, a team obviously you're very familiar with too. The Hunter Dickinson news was huge. McCullough news was huge. Given what Kansas lost, but also what's probably being talked about the least as far as their incoming freshman class, how does their incoming freshman class compare to some of the previous ones that Bill Self has had, with the addition of now the big guns that you still have back from a year ago and also the new addition?
It's so hard to say until the guys get there and actually start playing the game. But, I don't know that many of those guys are going to have much of a role now with as much experience as they have coming in, and as well as Hunter and Kevin coming in, or Kevin staying. You've got Nick Timberlake coming in who, they really, really need a shooter. He's a transfer from Townsend who will play quite a few minutes just because he could actually make outside shots. And he's old. So, those older guys are going to play a lot of minutes. But they've got some solid players and the one that I'm probably most intrigued with, just because he was kind of a late bloomer, kind of a guy that came onto the scene late, is Marcus Adams Jr. Yeah. He's from California, big wing. He's somebody that's interesting, but I'm blanking on the names. Marco, what's his first name? The McDonald's All-American they've got coming in. He played on the Under Armour circuit. I thought he was the best player on that circuit, and he's a pretty good player. I mean, him and Artario Morris and Nick Timberlake will probably compete for like that last starting spot in their starting lineup.
CJ Moore from The Athletic joining us. What is, and you know Bill really well, and we've gotten to know Bill up here a bit, and the health scare that he was not in Des Moines with the team. And a lot of people were concerned, and there were a lot of people that I'm sure that were recruiting against KU saying, hey, Coach Self is never coming back. But he addressed it shortly after the season ended, and he mentioned something, because he's going in his 21st year as the head coach. And he said, my goal is to take this place to a whole different level that we've never been to before, and we've been to a really high level. Yes, you have. You've got banners in the building. What do you think he meant by that as he gets towards the latter stages of his time in Lawrence?
I think he realized what he missed, and by being away from it, and I think that it might stretch out a little bit how much longer he sticks around, just because he realized. I've talked to him some, kind of away from it all of like how long do you want to stick around? We had these talks like a year ago, and he's kind of like, I don't really have any other hobbies. Like, this is what I love. So I think that he's going to be around for a little bit, and probably maybe start thinking about legacy and that kind of stuff, and like winning another national championship puts him in a whole other club. So I think he's as motivated as ever to win. And you see like these years where KU has almost loses early in the tournament, it really, really gets him fired up to try to get, further the next year. Last time this happened, they ended up following it up with a national championship. So he's got a pretty good squad come back. I mean, it'll probably be, if not preseason number 1, preseason number 2.
And speaking of preseason rankings, we've been talking a lot about not just Nebraska and K-State Tominaga back, but also with Creighton, with the news of Trey Alexander coming back, Ryan Kalkbrenner also announcing he's coming back. You look at the additions that they made, getting Isaac Trout from Virginia, and you now all of a sudden have a team that is looking to sort of best what they were able to do in the Elite Eight. I'm curious with the movement, the loss of Nemhard and Kaluma, but the additions as well, and the guys that stayed. Where's Creighton at on your radar as of this morning?
Well, I haven't tried to sit down and rank them all, but I would say it's probably a preseason top 10 roster. Close, if not there, pretty close to it. Stephen Ashworth, the point guard that they have coming in, is a guy that I really, really liked out of the portal. He can really shoot the ball, and he'll be kind of a good pick and roll partner with Kalkbrenner, and I think he'll kind of fit well with that core. And then I love there Shireman. I did a feature on him earlier this year. Just really enjoy watching him play the game, and I think he'll probably be even better his second year back, or his second year with Creighton. So I think they're going to be really good again. Obviously it hurt losing those two guys, but the fact that they got Stephen Ashworth really helped, kind of fill the biggest hole they had on the roster with losing Nembhard.
Hey, we'll get you out on this. CJ Moore from The Athletic joining us. When we talk about expansion, it usually has to do with football programs, whether the Big Ten, the SEC. The Big 12 under Brett Yormark has kind of thought outside of the box. And you got 4 new schools coming in. They don't necessarily bring a great football profile, but, man, they bring a basketball profile. And Yormark, it seems like he's trying to build – the SEC has a football juggernaut. He's trying to build a basketball juggernaut in the Big 12. But there are other schools that are being mentioned that have a basketball profile, from UConn, Gonzaga, Memphis, and then, of course, Colorado. What do you think happens with the Big 12 here in the next year to, 3-4 years down the road?
I'm a little skeptical that any moves happen. I mean, I think Gonzaga is probably the most realistic, and Colorado's probably got some decent buzz. But man, I just kind of wait and see until it actually happens. But conference realignment is like the most frustrating part of college sports to me. So it just kind of makes me the old man get off my lawn mood. But seeing Gonzaga come to the Big 12 would be pretty cool. It's actually something Dana O'Neill and I floated in an article like a couple of years ago before anybody was talking about this. So, hey, they must be reading our stuff.
Yep. Great stuff. CJ, we always appreciate it. I'm a big fan of your work, and enjoy what is kind of the off season, I guess.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
It's CJ Moore. We haven't talked about this on the show. Big 12 wants to be a men's basketball conference.
And good for them.
And I mean, you lost Texas and Oklahoma, so you got a potential Final Four team in Texas. And Oklahoma and Porter Moser is still good. But you added Houston.
Yep.
Okay. BYU's been pretty good. I mean, you're a basketball conference. What is UConn doing? So UConn has been back in the Big East for 3 years, where they should,
where they belong,
where they should be, and they just won a national championship. They fit the profile. Are they only dabbling with the Big 12 to save their football program?
That's what I thought.
Because it makes no sense that UConn, after getting back in the Big East, would say, "No, we're going to the Big 12."
Remember the presser at Madison Square Garden, like you're home.
Yeah,
this was totally a football thing.
But
first time I heard it.
But this won't go away.
I think it's leveraged to Colorado.
This continues to be a discussion.
Yeah, it's got to be a football thing. Look, the Big 12 is solid. We know that when it comes to a basketball conference, it's one of the best, if not the best. And they're bolstering that group, throwing Houston in the mix as well. Like, you've got good basketball representation. I think what they are bringing in compared to what they lost, I think you could say, yeah, you know what? We like what we were able to do. UConn, obviously, from a basketball standpoint, would be huge, but you don't need it. And UConn, you don't need the Big 12 when it comes to basketball. You are in a basketball-specific conference in the Big East with good enough depth. You won a national championship through it. This has got to be a football thing.
Now, just to save our football program, which is currently independent, which actually had a pretty good year this past year.
Jim Mora.
You would be kicking your fans in the teeth, because your fans love the geography and the history of the Big East. And you just returned to prominence in that conference where, after losing some key guys, you're still going to be one of the top 3 teams going this season, and you got it rolling, okay? You got it rolling on both sides of the hallway when it comes to basketball. Unless the media partner of the Big 12 said, hey, we're giving you $31 million.
This needs to happen.
We'll up that if you can get UConn.
Yeah.
And Yormark says, I'll be right back. But if they are, because they're chasing Gonzaga, UConn, Memphis, 3 basketball schools.
Yeah.
In Colorado, Ted Boyle's done a nice job in basketball. So They want to be the SEC of college basketball in the Big 12, and they are well on their way to doing that.
Can you imagine?
There's been some sniffing with San Diego State because Yormark wants to get all 4 time zones in his league. I mean,
and he does have a basketball background, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and let's assume that
he wants a presence in New York
let's
City.
assume the UConn thing is smoke and mirrors, and it doesn't end up happening. Still, if you are able to add to the resume of Gonzaga and Memphis on top of what you're already bringing in,
And FedEx is ready to pony up with whatever Memphis needs.
That would be.
They're going to renovate the Liberty Bowl, which desperately needs it. Say from
you're
experience.
just out there. Yeah,
Excellent porta potties in the concourse. That's not good.
I mean, the Big 12, you'd love them, but you don't need them if you're able to knock down the other doors there. It's that conference. Wow. I mean, it's already good, even with the departure of Oklahoma and Texas and what you're bringing in. Whew.
I mean, Cincinnati can hold their own in basketball.
And I know this doesn't move. I know this does not move any decision making whatsoever when it comes to UConn athletics. But baseball? Why would you look at where you are in the Big East right now?
Well, you do have that built-in advantage, but man, what you could do in Big 12,
Big 12
baseball,
where they take it very serious.
But still, what do we? This is.
They belong in the Big East.
It boggles my mind that this is even a consideration. That West Virginia talks about how far they are away from Ames, Iowa. Now, they're going to get some help with the 4 new teams that are coming in because, Cincinnati, of course, being closer. UConn? I mean, this doesn't, this is a, I don't know, fact-finding mission or whatever, or somebody's whining and dining you. UConn, just shut off the valve. You're fine. You're home. You got a good spot. You're in a good conference.
Tino's back in the league.
Your fans are excited. You got your rivalries that are back again.
Yep.
But good on the Big 12, man. They want to be a behemoth in men's basketball, and they will not stop. And they've got the most. They are open more for business than the SEC and the Big 10 can be.
Yep.
Because they're like, you know what? Yeah, we'll add 4 more because we're not the 50, 60, $100 million TV. We're at 31, but boy, if we could get to 40.
It's amazing to me there's still a conversation about the Big 12 too. I think some average fans that aren't seeing the bigger picture, because I saw somebody, quote tweet the Colorado interest in the Big 12, and it said, "Why would you want to go from one bad conference to another?" Big 12 is making
more
moves.
Stable.
Big 12 is, you can't even compare the two right now. The Big 12 is.
Max just dropped an article in The Athletic about them going to the Big 12 and what it would be. And
when you think of like the buyers and the sellers at a trade deadline, Big 12, they're buyers. They're trying to put together a roster, a championship roster. Pac-12, they're sellers. So to even compare the two right now, you're not paying attention. You just aren't. Because look, the Big 12, what they're able to try to do, and now trying to identify what they can really push and promote. It's impressive. It really is impressive. And Yormark seems to be a guy who's kind of thinking ahead. He's anticipating this constant changing college athletics landscape, and I think they're leaning into what they know they can do best.
And it's there, so you might as well use it.
Mm-hmm.
Not unless they want to win all the belts. So you win a national championship in the Big East, you win a national championship in the American Athletic.
Undisputed.
And then you say, you know what, let's win a championship in the Big 12.
Yeah. Be undisputed.
All right. Brian Edwards is going to join us next to wrap up this show on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone. 1620thezone.com.
You never know who might be hiding a problem with sports betting because it can affect anyone. Dads, moms, teachers, lawyers, blue collar, white collar, PhDs, community heroes. But there's one thing we want you to know. It doesn't matter who you are. What does matter is getting help. Contact 1-800-BETS-OFF. No judgment, just help. Be number one at getting help.
Brought to you by the Iowa Department of Public Health and Heartland Family Service.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here from my friends at Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis. The temperatures are rising, which means plenty of chances for you to get to the golf course just north of Dodge on 120th Street and play some golf, whether it is outside a full 18, inside the Top Tracer building. Schedule a bachelor or a bachelorette party. You can do it all. Don't forget about work outings as well. You could put together a large scramble there at the golf course. They're located just north of Dodge on 120th Street, Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis.
It's good to be able to make a change, to never feel stuck. That's why at Cox, we're making a change too. Now Cox Internet plans are flexible, so you can choose to just go with Internet, add TV tomorrow, or home automation down the line. It's easier than ever to get just what you want and nothing you don't. Flexible plans from Cox. Change anytime. No commitments, no penalties. See for yourself at cox.com/internet. Additional services can be added at then current regular rates. All services subject to residential customer service agreement and acceptable use policy. Restrictions apply.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates, it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Sundays with the Storm Chasers are packed with fun for the entire family. Every Sunday features free entertainment for kids 12 and under. Brought to you by Nebraska Medicine. Want to get a free Sunday Berm ticket courtesy of Hy-Vee? Bring 3 cans of non-perishable food items to the Warner Park box office. Wrap up the day with Kids Run the Bases, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Nebraska. Visit OmahaStormChasers.com.
Omaha Storm Chasers family. Everyone get on your feet, stir up the storm, we're family.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, here is a very happy man because we're getting closer. We are, of course, 13 weeks before Nebraska and Minnesota. Kick times are out. Networks are out. The Athlon magazine is in the hands of Brian Edwards, our senior handicapper from Vegas Insider. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, gentlemen. What's happening?
We're 13 weeks away. People got excited. Nebraska, Colorado. We're playing 10 a.m. local time in Boulder.
Inside 100 days of the NFL as well.
Yeah.
It's all there.
Indeed.
So is Athlon kind to your Florida Gators?
No, nor should they be. No, they're not. I think they got them going 5-7 on their page. Let's see. Well, where's the? Oh, you got to go to the first page of the conference. Okay. Yeah, they got them going 5-7.
Wow. Okay. Well, I know that will not go over well in Gainesville.
No, it will not, but it's a $31.5 million buyout after year 2, and we're still paying Mullen, and we just paid $80+ million for the new football-only facility. So we're stuck for 3 years minimum, in my opinion.
Hey, before we dive into some football, we'll talk college and the NFL. Tonight is game number 1. The line is 8.5 to 9. Denver is 12-3 in the postseason. They've looked really good, maybe the best. Miami has a couple of nice series wins, beating Milwaukee and now Boston, stretching it to 7. The line is 8.5. I know you got it at 9. Does it seem like it's disrespectful to Miami that the line is that big for the first game of the NBA Finals?
A little bit. I mean, Denver should definitely be, at least 6. But I think 8.5, 9 is a little rich. Miami's only been an underdog of 7.5 points or more 10 times this year. They're 8-2 against the spread in those games. Their last 16 as an underdog. They're 13-3 against the spread with 11 outright wins. And on the road in the playoffs, they're 7-3 against the spread, 6-4 straight up. Denver has had 9 days off, but when you sweep the Lakers, you're playing great basketball. It's a good thing in the long run for this series. I don't know that it's a good thing for tonight. Maybe a little rusty, maybe not as sharp. Now, the flip side of that is, well, A, Miami's got to deal with altitude, and B, Miami's coming off a 7-game series. But they have had, every other day, in the Eastern Conference Finals. Now they've had 2 days off, and it's not like it was an emotional Game 7. It was a lopsided temp slap. So I don't. I think the altitude's a real thing, but look, Miami has really been dominated by Denver. I've only seen the last 10 head-to-head meetings. I didn't dive any deeper from the covers.com matchups, but it's 9-1 for Denver. But they played 2 close games in the regular season, lost by 4 and lost by 5. I'm going with the Heat plus 8.5 or 9.
Hey, speaking of disrespect, I'm looking at the defending NFC champions in the Philadelphia Eagles. They're the number plus 100 to win the East. I don't think is maybe as eye-opening, but the win total of 11.5 to me seems like that might be a shade low. I'm curious where you kind of look at the Eagles out of the NFC East and some of those futures odds.
Yeah, so I like the Eagles to win the division at even money. Dallas did get a little better. They got Stephon Gilmore. They had a pretty good draft. They got Brandon Cook. So those are 2 definite, playmakers that they've added. But look, Philly lost 7 starters, but you replaced Javon Hargrave, who had 11 sacks last year. You replaced him with Jalen Carter, maybe the best overall player in the draft. You go to Kirby and Georgia's defense again for a late first-round pick in Nolan Smith. I love the third-rounder, the safety, Sidney Brown out of Illinois, 6 interceptions last year. And then you get a third Kirby defensive guy from UGA and Kelly Ringo in the 4th round. I thought you stole DeAndre Swift from Detroit, giving up next to nothing, 156 career catches in 3 seasons. You replaced Miles Sanders with Swift and Rashad Penny, veteran running back, 5.7 yards per carry average for his career. You still got Gainwell and Boston Scott. I thought Howie Roseman, the GM, plugged holes very well. I think they win at least 12 or 13. I like them at even money to win the division, and not a big bet on the over, but I do like it. And look, if there's one guy in the league you don't have to worry about getting a massive contract and losing his hunger and passion for the game, it's definitely Jalen Hurts.
Yep. And I know you kind of feel the similar way and similar plus minus odds and win total with Cincinnati as well in the AFC North.
Yes, I do. They lost some secondary guys, Jesse Bates to my Falcons being the big one, but it's mostly the same team. They add Orlando Brown, an offensive tackle. Let's remember last year they did not have 3 starters on the O-line in the playoffs last year. Still shoulda, woulda, coulda, got to the Super Bowl. Some shaky calls in that KC game, but look, I love the 5th round pick, Chase Brown, to be Joe Mixon's backup. I think he's going to be an excellent pro. I'm all about the Bengals plus 125 to win the division, and I also think they win 12 or 13, and they're at 11.5 small plus money on the win total, just like Philly.
Hey, let's do some rapid fire discussion here in college football. Let's start with Texas, B. So Texas hasn't won 10 games since 2009, but their win total is 9.5. They have the key game week 2 and the return game when they go to Tuscaloosa, ESPN, 6:00. This is their last year in the Big 12. They're going to be a target just like OU is. We always want to say, well, Texas is going to live up to expectations. Win total's 9.5. I do think, though, that it's tough to find a lot of weaknesses on this roster. Is this the year that Texas actually is what we think Texas should be?
Hard for me to have a lot of confidence in that. So Athlon's magazine in the Big 12 unit rankings, it's got Texas number 1 at every single position. I look at the schedule. I've got them 7-1 with 4 swing games, losing to Alabama, swing games being at TCU, at Iowa State versus Oklahoma, at Baylor. I think they beat Oklahoma. And then those road games, I mean, that's where Texas usually gets tripped up. I think they probably win 9, maybe 10. But, look, Ewers was very impressive early. I don't know if he was dealing with injury in November. He regressed and did not play well in November. I got to see it before I'm going to put, some money behind it. The season win total is a pass for me.
What about Wisconsin at 9, new coaching staff, sort of a new style offensively? Where are you at with them?
So I saw 8.5 at FanDuel, shaded to the over -128. I see 7 wins. I see 5 swing games at Wazoo, at Purdue, at Illinois, at Minnesota, at home to Ohio State. They probably lose to Ohio State. They probably win at Wazoo, and then they probably go 1-2 or 2-1 in those 3 road games I mentioned. But look, new quarterback, Phil Longo, OC, you're going to a pass offense after, the tradition and culture has been big O linemen run the football. They still have excellent running backs, Braylon Allen, Ches Malusi. They got 14 transfers, but only 1 4-star. C.J. Williams, a wide receiver from USC. He brought 2 wide receivers and 2 O linemen from Cincy. I think Wisconsin's going to be good, but, I mean, I'm not. I think they probably go 9-3, so I would slightly lean to the over if it's 8.5, but I doubt I'll play it.
All right, so this is kind of in the line of Texas, and you live in an area where there are a lot of Noles fans. So let's talk about Florida State. So just like Texas hasn't won 10 games or more since 2009, it has been since 2016 that FSU has won 10. But last year they went 9-3, and they were impressive. They get the quarterback back in Jordan Travis. Jared Verse, their edge rusher, I really, really like. He's going to be a first-round guy. They have LSU. They open up in Orlando against LSU, and that's the return game after playing last year in the Superdome. They've got Clemson. Their win total, wherever you look, and if you go to VegasInsider.com, it's got the compilation. It's 9.5 to 10. What are we doing with Florida State this year with a lot of hype and maybe a year where they don't drop that random game?
I think they lose to LSU, and I think they lose at Clemson. They should be favored in every other game. If Jordan Travis stays healthy, I could see them maybe going 10-2, but I'm just not enamored with their defense. I mean, Florida barely scored against Vanderbilt the week before they went to FSU at night, short week at home. Florida scores 38 on them. Oklahoma's JV offense had 496 yards and 32 points on them in an essential road game for OU with, all their best players sitting out because of the draft. I just not impressed with FSU's defense. They went 1-3 in their 4 toughest games last year, the 1 win over LSU by 1. I think they're going to be good if Travis stays healthy, but I have questions about their defense. We'll see. It's a pass for me on the win total.
Hey, we'll get you out on this because you've alluded to it, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I'm thinking, and their win total is 8.5. You like LSU this year?
Yeah, I love LSU. Wish I'd have gotten the over at 8.5 FanDuel. It's 9.5 now, but I think they're going to win at least 10. And if Alabama's quarterback play is not up to snuff, winning in Tuscaloosa is certainly not out of the question. I love Brian Kelly as a coach. The culture fit was a little bit of a question mark, but look, man, you win games at LSU, they'll love you. And them winning the SEC West last year in year 1 was really improbable. And they got a lot of good stuff coming back. They've recruited well, hit the portal well. LSU's going to be tough to beat this year.
Now, they got 2 legit stars. One is at quarterback in Daniels, and the other side of the ball with Perkins. Hey, we'll get you out on this because I always pick your brain on where you live because you get it from both sides, but primarily SEC. Are you an 8 or a 9 game conference guy?
9 game conference. If they go 8 game, they should make it an absolute bylaw requirement that you have to play at least 2 Power 5 in non-conference and 0 FCS. But I definitely want it to be a 9 game. And if they stay to 8 game and don't make any bylaw rules about playing Power 5 and eliminating FCS, every bit of criticism they get nationally will be well-deserved.
No, well, they're going to hear about it. Well, we should probably hear about it later this week. B, as always, we appreciate it. Enjoy game 1 of the NBA Finals tonight, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, fellas. Y'all have a great day, weekend, all that.
That's Brian Edwards, Vegas B. Edwards on Twitter, VegasInsider.com. All right, Heat. I'll take the Heat getting 8.5 to 9. But if they're gonna steal a game, it's tonight. They got to split in Denver to have a shot. I like the Nugs in 6.
Got Nugs in 5.
I got the Nugs in 6, and yes, if they're going to win a game, it's going to be tonight. Very similar to when the 76ers came off of Game 7 in 2001, the Ty Lue game, and they stole Game 1 in LA and then lost in 5. I mean, it's the adrenaline for the Heat tonight could carry them, but then the fatigue would set in
Rhythm
Game 2.
versus rest, baby. Rhythm versus rest.
Play it on Pikes Peak. You can play it in Telluride,
play it in
whatever.
humidity.
Yeah.
Bam under points. I like Porter over 7.5 rebounds, and I like the total over for tonight. I've already said I like Jimmy Butler over points and rebounds, which right now in FanDuel is 30.
What's Bam's point total over under at?
16.5.
Yeah, I like the under.
Now, if he scores more than 16,
hey,
you got something going on there.
If that's the case, then there's Peppa's tomorrow. So.
All right. Welcome to a basketball state, everybody. Woo! Tomorrow, Friday, we'll close out the week with you, and we rejoin you at 6. John Schreiner's in for Connor. He's coming up next.